And good evening or afternoon. Oh, fuck. I tried to bamboozle and I messed up. Damn it. Forget it. Wrong scene loaded. Now you can see he's here. Steal. God damn it.
Well done, Graham.
Why would things go right for me? Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Guest casting with me today, I have TLO. TLO, of course, has had some really cool recent events. And funny enough, the last letter in your gamer tag looks like a ring. Coincidence?
It was preordained. Yeah, as Graham was saying, some really cool developments in my life. I'm gonna get married. And,
hell yeah, dude.
And you met her, my wife to be, a couple times. So I'm sure we have your approval because she's awesome.
Yeah, I've met with many times before you guys even got together, and she's just a very awesome person. So you two being together, two very awesome people, makes me happy for an awesome couple.
Oh, thank you.
I just noticed though, I was looking at this last night. Did you propose like the day before Valentine's Day, my guy? Did you miss out on the most romantic opportunity possible?
So no, the proposal happened earlier. We were both talking about this, that you're gonna do this together for quite some time anyway. And actually, we wanted to make it public. And we figured we don't want to make it public on Valentine's Day purposely. Because, you know, first of all, I feel like so many people do stuff like that on Valentine's Day that it almost like is inflationary. So we decided we're just going to steal everybody's thunder and do it the day before.
That's fair.
I put a lot of pressure on a lot of people too the next day.
Well, congratulations and fingers crossed for great success. But for everybody else who is not getting married and didn't have a Valentine's, don't worry, we got StarCraft for you the day after. Now, today's group is going to be, in essence, a WCS or GSL style group, as many of you are aware. But we have some tweaks to it. This is going to mirror what we did in the European group, where we're going to have 3 best of 3s, but the 2 final matches of the day are going to be best of 5s. So that's the winner's match and the decider match to see which 2 players go on to the playoffs. But it should be noted that no matter where anybody places in this tournament, we've allocated prize money, so every single person gets paid, even if you finished dead last. That's $25 for losing a couple best of 3s. Might not be so bad for some, might be great for others, who knows. But we've got a mix of like pros that you know and some up-and-comers that you might not be so aware of. And the beauty of having TLO on today, this worked out totally coincidence, by the way, guys, because he is playing tomorrow. He's playing his group tomorrow. But we have Terrence and Zergs, 2 races which TLO is fairly well versed with. No Protoss today.
Yeah, well, I mean, my Terran knowledge from my personal perspective is a little bit outdated at this point. But, you know, CVT is a matchup I, of course, know very well. And I look forward to some good matches.
Well, the beauty is with both these being mirror matchups to start the group, it's guaranteed TVZs. So it's something I'm sure you know very well, Mr. Burrowed Banelings and other cool tricks.
Yeah, I always like that actually when groups start with the mirrors, because then you actually end up with some non-mirrors guaranteed, so that's great.
I'm kind of 50-50 on this right now, though, because, for example, I feel like the PvZ matchup is becoming a little stale for me. And not that I think there's anything objectively wrong with it, but I see the same people playing the same match with the same double Stargate, double Robo Opener. Like, it's not as entertaining. So I kind of have been leaning more towards mirror matchups anyways. They've just been, for me, I think, a lot more fun given the right players. And I think today we have the right players. I guess to go over this very briefly before we get started, because we are in the lobby and good to go at the first game here in just a sec, guys. We have a brackets page set up by Dares. Quick shout out to Dares for that, so you guys can see all the players competing tonight. And of course, like I said, it's going to be 5 best ofs, but 3 are going to be best of 3s, 2 will be best of 5s. But let me double check with our players and see if they're ready, because if they are, we'll start off with the ZVZ. We got Cham versus Gametime. Also, quick little shout out to the people who subbed. And quick note, guys, it's going to be a little bit difficult to do sub shout outs today because TLO doesn't have access. And if I give him the link, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I will probably just be doing summary sub shout outs today. Not because I don't love you or don't appreciate you. It's just going to be a lot easier on him and on me and running the show without fumbling and talking over each other. So quickly, thank you. Hybrid, one of my SkyFam friends, comes in for the 2 months back-to-backs. His quality streams here, so better keep supporting the fellow SkyFam members. It's Sky Love. Diesel MP, thank you for the 17 months. And then Shining 7 shouts, woo, very, very loudly and with much capital letters. Thank you for the 9-month sub. But everybody is saying they are ready, so let's get into this first game. It's on Kairos Junction. I'll see you guys on the map. everybody. Welcome to the show. It's a black screen. Oh no, snap your fingers. Come on, StarCraft. There you go. It's game number 1 in this best of 3. I'm Rifkin, casting with TLO. Kicking things off here in the bottom right, we've got Sloth Esports Club's Teal Zerg player with those awesome new skins. It's Gametime. And his opponent at the top left, playing for Chivo, one of these new teams. Teammate of Sue, we have the Red Zerg, Cham.
Off to a good start.
Oh, I wasn't even reading chat. Were they just complaining about server?
So unfortunately, it was hosted on Western, and they prefer playing on Central, which is understandable, you know, and puts a little bit of a wrench into this cast, but...
This is walking and talking. All right. It's all good. Darius probably didn't know better when he had hosted the lobby, so we'll just get this hosted up again. So Central server... I can just host this up real quick, guys. Because you could just remake off of the map you just played on with 2 clicks. Easy clap.
It would be amazing if you could actually select the server in the lobby rather than doing this awkward dance where you go into your own server settings and then the host. Yeah. You know, I'm sure it would be different. Like, I wonder how that works if just it's not technically possible from the way it's coded to do it after, or if it's just a pure, you know, we didn't get around to do that kind of thing.
I feel like the problem is with it, and this is going to sound like such random shots fired. You have the NA server, which is an amalgamation of all these terrible servers that don't match each other. So you're forced to play on that all the time. We are in the like less than 1% of situations where that function would be useful, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is sad to say.
But at the same time, you know, Blizzard has been pretty good at like putting some quality of life things in for, you know, pro play. So, you know, but, you know, the team is small. They can't put in everything, unfortunately.
Well, guys, we're going to hop into Kairos Junction for the second time. See you on the map. That my sexy sounding friend Haven in the Twitch chat. Aye, right back at you. And hello everybody else tuning in. Now we actually have the first game of the day with no incorrect servers and no remakes. We get into map 1 in this best of 3. I'm Rifkin casting with TLO and knocking out these intros in the top left from Sloth Esports Club. It's going to be the Teal Zerg Gametime. And as put at the bottom right, I mentioned previously, but I'll mention again, Chivo. It's a brand new team. I know that Sue is on it, and so is this guy. It's the Blue Zerg Cham. Throwing down a bit of an early pool.
Yeah, 12th pool is very powerful on Kairos. Rush distance is very short. Actually, I didn't pay attention last game. Did he do that last game, like last host of the map as well? Because it would be kind of interesting because he, theoretically, Gametime could have checked match history, right?
Ah, except match history is disabled.
Oh, it's disabled, okay. But
also, and additionally, I wouldn't be able to confirm for you because I didn't even realize we were making the games. I was too busy doing the intro.
Yes, but like even if match history is disabled, I think in your own game, like you can see it at the end of the game, like build orders, even if it's disabled.
Oh, maybe.
You just can't go to it after if you weren't in the game. But anyway, the 12th pool is happening now, and you'll see how Gametime reacts. I think he went for gas pool. Ooh. I usually prefer a pool gas on Kairos because it is really, really short.
Just confirming, by the way, the Overlord did not catch those links. Very barely pixels away from seeing it, but I don't know. I kind of like this. The 12th pool, not that all in, right? Once upon a time, it really was.
Yeah, it's in a weird way, it's almost a macro build because, you know, it's safe against everything, and at most, usually it kind of normalizes. And Gametime is actually in trouble because he made an Overlord at 19. Usually, you don't want to make that Overlord, so you can, you know, just spend all those resources and links and queens, and we have to see how it comes down here to drone micro.
Oh. Plus, it's just so painful knowing you're losing so much money pulling these away. There's been a lot of situations where you pull the drones and you still don't save that hatchery. That's just the worst feeling, man. And this micro to Cham. I love he's dancing around the hatchery. He's for sure gonna get this.
Yeah, he loses a bunch of circlings, but as you said, this is the worst case scenario. Losing the hatchery, but also having pulled drones. if he didn't pull the drones, at least he would be able to remake it immediately, make a second queen. But now he's really far behind, and Cham is following this up with no gases. So he's basically playing the proper macro follow-up by this. He'll probably go into a relatively quick lair, get roaches, get an Evo chamber, and for him it's pretty smooth cruising. From here he's gonna have double drone production and faster mining.
Real quick note, by the way, guys, sorry I forgot to put the general disclaimer out there, but I think me and TLO should be good on sounds. But just, again, if you guys hear any problems, if he's too quiet or I'm too loud, let me know so I can adjust as the show goes on. So far, everything looks good. I just want to put that out there. Please let us know if you guys hear anything wrong. Ooh, I made the mistake of playing this wretched game recently. Let me go turn that scrolling off real quick. Sorry about that. Sliding all over the map like I've got ice skates on. I was playing some ladder. I got quickly tilted, though, because... a lot of people warm up, they do 1v1, sometimes it's unranked or an off race or whatever. I like to play 2v2s for my warm-up. And I load into the first 2v2 game and my ally says to me, before good luck, have fun, mass mines. I'm like, oh, this is gonna go great!
Oh, that's awesome. That's why you don't play team games with randoms.
I got so triggered right off the bat. But, alright, couple links. Do you make it through to the main base? They might... No, I don't think they'll get this queen. But some okay scouting out of Gametime to see the lack of gases you had mentioned before.
Yeah, Gametime at least was able to cancel his Baneling Nest, which of course would be entirely without value. But just looking at the drone count, while the drone count is still relatively close, the amount of gases Cham already put down, plus the layer in production and Evos. Each building is a drone too, right? So sometimes it can be a bit misleading. If one player has already way more buildings, he's actually had more drones than it looks like, because eventually your opponent is also going to have to make those buildings.
Well, cool little thing to note at the income graph, of course, Cham, off of his opening, has had a very noteworthy lead, but it's starting to even out now for Gametime. However, as the waves of drones pop and larva injects, etc., we'll see that kind of go back and forth for a bit. Luckily, though, I do like that, Gametime's response to getting that hatchery loss, yeah, maybe could have gone for some crazy all-in, but I like that he's playing this one out, because I've seen a lot of Gametime's matches on his stream, and I think Gametime's a better non-cheesy player, if that makes like a less all-in of a guy. I really like his macro games quite a bit.
Yeah, I think he sometimes falls in the trap where he all-ins in a situation like that if he plays against a player he deems better than himself, but that usually goes wrong, so I'm glad he's going macro as well. The main issue is Cham has like the initiative when it comes to tech. Like, it's really scary as Gametime right now because you don't know if it's Nidus, you don't know if it's Spire, so you have to play pretty conservative. And he lost a lot of queens too.
And Nidus Worm is going really gross in this matchup. Bly has been abusing that a lot in our cast. But quick little note, by the way, guys, Gametime is streaming his matches. So if you want to check out his point of view, we are casting without delay today, so you can watch both matches live, side by side. You can go to twitch.tv/Gametime301. Or if one of our mods or subs can link it in the chat, that'd be awesome.
It's actually a little bit strange how Cham is playing this. He got the really fast gases, but he didn't follow up with any kind of tech. So I don't know if it's just to make a lot of Ravagers. So right now drone count is equal. Now Cham is running. I didn't love that, but he's still in a fine position.
But still, 600 gas seems a little strange. To me, this is like, oh yeah, he's waiting for a Spire to finish up and make mutas, right? But there's no Spire on the way.
Yeah, it's a little odd. Like he might just be banking it to like make Ravagers, but at the same time he's like half droning, half making units. So maybe it's just a little bit of a mistake when it comes to build order design.
Well, here comes the attack out of the roaches. They're gonna realize there's plenty waiting for them though, so this won't go so hot. High ground advantage is gonna be nice too. The Cham's immediately pushed back, but as far as spending that gas, we noticed that he segmented a couple roaches over here. That was nice. We noticed that he started his second Evo chamber and his +1 Carapace on the way. And like that arm, that one upgrade difference, I don't think will make like a game-breaking change while they both have high roach counts. But as these numbers get lower and dwindle out, those arm upgrades are gonna be way more valuable.
Yeah, it's interesting how the math works out in fights when it comes to upgrades, because the more units you have, the more valuable upgrades are, but it always feels the smaller the fights get, the more important it is. But because then I guess in a big fight, sometimes if your roaches are not attacking, if it's the wrong angle, and that can be more decisive than your units having one more armor. But then, yeah, as the fight like dwindles down, right? Like then you really see the snowball effect.
Roaches really have a, I won't say unique, but a very close to unique dynamic when it comes to that, because they are such big overkill units, right? Like 18 roaches shooting one roach, that's so much wasted damage. But at the same time, you don't want them spreading out too thin with the auto attack, otherwise you just lose a bunch of roaches before you get to use them. So concaves are so important in this matchup, pulling away from corrosive biles too, but a kind of neat side track here as we got a Spire.
Yeah, I actually think roach fights are much more interesting than most people realize. Yeah, Spire started from Gametime, and he's far down in supply, but he has a lot more economy. So if he can survive the next minute, he can be in a good position here.
Upgrades are so close to finishing. There you go, +2 done on the other side, but 1-1 versus 2-0 kind of evens out in a weird way. The mutas are going to be what's really unique. Being able to pick off the Ravagers from the back line. But the problem is when you go for this many mutas, when you spend this much money early on, you have so much less roaches. And we talked about the concave earlier. Well, we should also talk about numbers. Sometimes you're just outgunned in the roach war. And I don't know if Gametime's going to be able to keep up with Cham. Like, he'll kill the roaches eventually, but not before they kill most of his units.
Yeah, he basically Cham was too easily allowed across the map, and I think he's just going to win with this push here. Gametime, I think, needed to almost like trick him into like counter attacks that pulls Cham back, takes away his confidence to go across the map, but it's just so many roaches, and we have +1 armor as well, so the mutas are not nearly as effective as they usually would be.
GG. I wonder, I don't think it was this deep of a mind game, but I wonder if for Cham he has played Gametime enough to know Gametime likes mutas, and maybe that was part of the +1 carapace thought, or maybe it's just part of a normal build, because it is part of a normal build.
Well, you know, I've played Cham a lot, and he just really likes big roach Ravager pushes, so I almost feel like it's just kind of like his standard understanding of CVC that he just wins a lot of games of, oh, I have 180 supply, +2 attack, +1 armor, I had an advantage early game, like I'm just gonna shove. And, you know, it works out pretty great, because if somebody does try to get a tech switch to like get back into the game, you die. If they don't have a tech switch, you know, usually it kind of equalizes. So it's not necessarily a bad way to push an advantage.
It's kind of, you know, one thing you mentioned too, like roach wars are a lot more interesting than people give them credit for. I love the dynamic Ravagers brought to this matchup. Even though the roach war aspect is essentially the same that it was in Heart of the Swarm, I found ZVZ and Roach Wars some of the most boring things to watch. Like, I would actually rather watch stupid Stefano versus Petreus, Swarm Host versus Swarm Host than Roach versus Roach in a lot of situations. Yet, with Legacy of the Void adding the aspect of the Ravager, it has made it so much more fun to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Pure Roach is not that great, but Ravager introduces a very interesting dynamic where, you know, suddenly you can't just push into a choke with more roaches than your opponent. Because sometimes if a choke wouldn't be too small, it wouldn't matter. You can still bring 30 roaches into that fight and they can all fire. But Ravagers are interesting. There's also this interesting pullback micro with Ravagers, or, you know, line breaking. Like, I always actually compare Roach Ravager fights with like almost medieval warfare, where, like, you know, roaches are the cavalry that try to like break, like the attacking roaches are like cavalry trying to break through like a spear wall, and then the archers are behind and you want to get like to the Ravagers. I think there's like very interesting like small formations that happen there, and, you know, lots of dynamics.
Well, I've just been informed that the tournament map picks are a little bit different than I thought. But the beauty is this tournament was created specifically to give Dares a little bit of extra work. Quick shout out to Dares. He's our admin for everything we do. And give him an excuse to pay things. I thought this was straight vetoes ahead of time, but apparently we're doing loser's pick, which I was not aware of. I don't have any problems with, but I'm just informing you, the audience, so you guys are also on the same page, because I was not aware that's how it was going.
So it's loser picks, and once a player, if they don't like the map that is picked, they can veto. That's a strange system.
Well, so we've been playing around with this for about 2 months now. It's a pocket veto is what I've been calling it. And basically, yeah, it gives them the chance to strike down one map, purely only one. Once it's used, that's it. If they don't like the map that's picked.
Interesting. I wonder, you know, with these things, there's always a question, does it make a difference? Like, I would love to see if, like, other maps get picked because of that, or if it's just, in the end, it comes down to the same thing anyway, like...
Well, so one of the biggest feedbacks we had with just straight losers pick came from Mana and many others saying they just didn't like how you were going to play on a map you didn't want to play on, right? You had no choice about it. And if the first map picked and the losers pick map are both maps you don't want to play on, it just ruins your play style. So that's why we put in this kind of pocket veto to give these guys a chance in that regard. But we've had weirdly good feedback about this. People have really enjoyed it. But the funnest part for me, to answer your thing you brought up, is we've had more BM vetoes than real vetoes. Like, where I've messaged the players after, I'm like, did you really not want to play on that map? He's like, no, I just wanted to use my veto and mess with him. Bly, particularly, shout out to him. But others have been doing it as well. Regardless, guys, we're going to get Port Alexander Game 2 finally picked here. Before we get into game, big thank you to Dr. Sidewinder for the 45 months, Region76er for the 18, and Don't Panic, thank you for the 4-month resub. Let's get into the game. Welcome back. Game number 2 kicking off. This is the BaseTradeTV North American Invitational, or better known as the 5 Ws. Who, what, where, when, and why. And the answer to all those things are just a lot of StarCraft, frankly. As we hop into the second game of this series, I quickly remind anybody tuning in that we always have the score displayed down here by the minimap, as well as what the best of series is. Because there will be a change up later where we'll have best of 5s, but for now, this is still a best of 3. So putting his opponent on match point after this first game, we have at the top left our blue Zerg player, Cham. Also, I've seen your feedback, guys. I will make sure to try and keep these guys from picking the same colors in the future games. I just didn't realize until after this game. So, to the colorblind folks tuning in, I'm sorry. But in the bottom right, we have the Teal Zerg Gametime, who again is streaming his point of view. If you guys want to check that out, for sure, twitch.tv/Gametime301.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there's no. Does Gametime have a skin on? He's using the
he's using the building skins, but the roaches were just basic roaches.
Oh, okay, because else that would help distinguish it. But yep, it's by the way, it's super awesome that finally WCS that they finally have a function that you can play with skins, but your opponent doesn't have to see them.
Yeah, that's new technology there, Dario.
Yeah.
Only came out 3 years ago when we did it the first time.
Oh, you guys already had a tournament like that?
Yeah, we actually, if you didn't know about this is kind of cool. We did a Civil War tournament, PvP, so only Protoss players.
Yeah, right, because you had those different skins. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
But yeah, the cool thing about that one that a lot of people may not realize is in-game, units just look normal to the players. So it was always frustrating to me when I would see all these complaints about skins, and I just think, I know the technology's there. You know, Joey pulled a fucking Tony Stark and in a cave with a piece of wire invented this mod. Why can't Blizzard perfect it?
Yeah, it's always this issue because I think it's always a little easier for a modder because you can hack a little bit. You know, like Blizzard wouldn't release something that is not clean in code because they are afraid of like bugs. And
it took us 4 years to get them to use GameHeart, or to approve it. So I totally understand.
Yeah, and you know, right now Ryan works, who made GameHeart, he works at Blizzard now for a couple years now, right?
Hopefully.
So, no, yes, he does.
Okay, good. Because there's been a lot of a lot of hot takes on some recent events for Blizzard related stuff.
Oh, yeah, I think he's still there. The developers were mostly, safe. Anyway, a small 4-link harass on the third base by Gametime coming in. Usually that's not gonna turn into much. 6 links sometimes can threaten the base 4. Usually it's just a little gentle poke.
Yeah. Plus, a Queen is so powerful in the early game against small amounts of lings. Or if they've got a little bit of meat tanking in front of them. So, not too much danger about this third. Actually, I'd love to pick your brain while I got you on this one. So I mentioned before, Bly's been abusing the Nidus Worm quite a bit. And frankly, sometimes it looks so broken, like how do you deal with this? And then sometimes it falls a bit flat. With the Nidus Worm being the hot take in the matchup right now for all races, what are your thoughts on the current Nidus Worm?
So I really dislike it because I feel like it creates a really... So I actually dislike it most in CBC. Obviously, I don't mind so much in the other matchups, but I think CBC becomes really tunnel visioned. And I'm not even sure of like really a fast third expand with a Baneling Nest is like fully viable still. I feel like if somebody plays, Nidus style, you can like almost always beat that, or at least your opponent can't like safely defend it. Because I've seen people defend it, but a lot of times it's like, oh, I'm gonna cancel my Link speed and my Baneling Nest, and then instead make a Roach one right away. But then they would die to like a fake Nidus or then with like just Mass Link or something like this. So I feel like that's no 100% solid way to defend an early Nidus in CVC, and obviously that's kind of meh. And also I think in other matchups it's just a little bit too strong. I have one suggestion.
Sorry, I got to interrupt you. That was so cool. Like, I don't know if you guys realized what Gametime was doing. He didn't detonate that Baneling on purpose with his leg. He was trying to get them all low so he could get that quad kill. And he just traded 1 for 4. That almost never happens. That was so cool.
Oh yeah, that was actually incredible. So I'd love more hit points, a little bit less armor, because then Lings and Marines could kill it, So if you up the hit points by like 50 or 100, but then reduce your armor to 3 instead of 5, I think something like that might be nice.
Yeah, we had Raynor pull all of his Lings onto a Nidus Worm the other day, and he was confused. He didn't realize he had 5 armor. So we had him in the winner's interview, and he's like, yeah, I didn't realize. Feels bad, man. Now, of course, with Baneling still on Cham's side, he's likely to win this fight, but it's not just been one angle of an attack. These Lings actually slip through the natural base into the main. I don't think there's a lot of opportunities for kills here, but he's showing that he's got a lot of control over his Lings, whereas Cham is just running back and forth trying to play catch-up. Always love when Zerg players try and do this. It's always so cheeky, and it never gets caught. Or always gets caught, excuse me.
Well, but once in a while, it's such a cheap investment, right? So, like, I always appreciate people trying, and it feels so bad when you miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cham already has a lot of roaches out on the map now. He's gonna try to do some damage with this push, but he's not... Well, actually, no, he is not fully committed to it. So you might trick Gametime and like over defending here, and Gametime doesn't have lair started. Cham is getting a lair, so I think this is working out pretty nicely for Cham.
Oh! Well, that's one way to defend against the Ling run by. I was about to comment, like, Gametime, he's like purposely not coming home with those Lings. He's looking at a counterattack, brilliant. And then it's all stopped with a single Baneling, so forget about it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, and now 50 drones to 35. That's not a spot you want to be in CVC. Gametime is trying to make an attack happen here. He's like, actually, he has a good amount of units, but now Cham is in full roach production. He's getting a spine. I think he should have enough to defend here, because he didn't like go completely crazy with drones, but we'll see how it plays out. Banelings, catching all the Banelings of Gametime, that's actually pretty big.
Yeah, I fear this might be that category you described earlier where Gametime just like finds himself forced into all-ins. I mean, against whether it's a player better or equal skill, this isn't going to work. Defender's Advantage is going to absolutely win this battle. I'd be surprised if Cham even loses a single drone.
Yeah, those pushes always look kind of okay at the very beginning, and then the reinforcements pop, and then you realize, oh no, suddenly the defender chooses more units. And this looks like a pretty clean hold. As you said, not a single drone dead. +1 for Cham, almost done. No upgrades for Gametime, no lair. He's gonna be in this game for a little while longer, but I think knowing Cham, he's just gonna activate his killer instinct and go across the map and should handily finish this game.
It's so sad looking at these roaches too, because if Gametime had actually done like a big Ling all-in instead of roaches, he probably could have outnumbered this enough to go for big surrounds, but obviously too risky with your opponent having Banelings. Regardless, what if and who and what, it doesn't matter. This is looking unbreakable, and Gametime is not trying to build much more behind it. Like, he's trying to drone now, but I don't know to what extent he thinks he can catch up.
Yeah, he's gonna keep trying here a little bit. Like, sometimes you can get like an incredible run by or something, but I think as soon as speed is done for Cham, like even this surround, unfortunately doesn't help too much. There's 2 Banelings and the +1 upgrade. So Cham is gonna wait until speed is done, and then he's gonna leave a few units at home and should have a pretty clean finish here. Oh yeah, like Cham is actually even getting a Hydra Nest, because I guess this feels kind of Muta-esque with like all the Lings just running around, but not even a layer done for Gametime.
When you think your opponent's going Mutas, but really, they're just really behind.
Broke. Yeah.
Feels bad, man. I mean, the thing too is like on the actual graph itself, it doesn't look too terrifying except for this one blip here. But the realistic thing is, even though Gametime has started catching up in drones, it took him 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah, I always watch games and replays with this overlay that's called Standard Enhanced or something like this, and I see how many resources have been lost in that and how many have been mined, and Gametime lost almost 2,000 more minerals and 300 more gas. So even though the income was quite equal, the fights definitely were not.
Well, it's a sad pitter-patter because I really do like Gametime. He's one of my favorite people. That's why I keep shouting out his stream over and over. But even if he does die here, luckily he's not out of the tournament yet. There will be a loser's match. Oh god. Hopefully his TVC is feeling a little bit better than his ZVC. Because, of course, for those who don't know, the next matchup is going to be Vindicta versus Future. And the loser of that will face what is sadly likely going to be Gametime. And the winner will play what is likely going to be Cham. But maybe a crazy throw happens. Seems unlikely, but you know, never count North America out.
Yeah, I think only match fixing can save Gametime at this point. And yeah, you know, I think we all saw Cham as a strong favorite in this group, so I don't think Gametime should feel too bad about this, about his overall chances advancing from this group. GG 2-0 for Cham.
Well, like we said too, there's some beauty in the fact that even if you do lose fully and entirely, you still get some prize money. We structured this in such a way so that all 8 players are getting paid no matter what, unless they drop out of the tournament or something. I don't know. I think we should be good for that. But the next one's TVT, and I want to talk a little bit about this one because I've already had to ban 2 different people in chat, or maybe it's the same guy. I'm aware Vindicta has a history, folks, but I'm also aware that we've all done stupid things and he's still pretty young. As far as I'm aware, vouching from many people who know him, who have played with him, his illicit past has not followed him within recent days, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. If we sense even the slightest whiff of something fishy, then maybe we start shutting it down. But I would really appreciate if you guys could respect and try and treat Vindicta just as any other player. And if something comes up, then we can talk about it, but I'd rather not start talking about, oh, this guy once upon a time pissed people off, because this isn't once upon a time, this is now. And we're giving him a second chance, or whatever you want to review that as. I've personally never firsthand seen or witnessed or experienced anything, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. But as we said, we'll keep a close eye on it, so it's not like a free ride. However, it is TVT, Future versus Vindicta. That'll be up next. While we get this lobby hosted in a moment, we're going to go to a small break. But before we do, another pseudo-drama I'd like to address. And by the way, before I do, fucking hate you, TLO. You've, like, Twitter blown my mind like 10 times in the last week. But yeah, someone was asking, if you guys didn't see, I don't want to bring up the whole thing. There was a Reddit thread up to interpretation for it, but basically saying people like Rifka need pro players or co-casters and stuff like that. And I had set this up with TLO well before this post even existed. So some people have already been asking, like, is this cause and effect? Did you bring TLO in because of like Reddit pressure? And like, no, guys, like solo casting, duo casting, we just do what we can to get some good StarCraft out. And then I messaged TLO because I thought it'd be a lot of fun. You know, we did, was it Ting like a few months back? I really enjoyed that cast with you and Snoot. And so, yeah, having TLO on today is totally not related. Just some good times with some good people. Also, that requires a double shout out because it was last week where we had those crazy donations come in. And one of them was specifically like, use this however you like. So I took that money. I'm like, TLO, let me pay you to come on the stream today. So everybody, casters, players, admins, everyone's getting paid today. Everyone's going to have a good time. We got some good StarCraft still coming. But as I said, we are going to a small commercial break. And when we get back, we'll have the TVT set up and good to go with Vindicta versus Future. So thank you for tuning in, folks. And we'll be back here in a little bit. Feeling uneasy about StarCraft's future? The future. Are you unsure if you can afford a war chest? War chest. What about WCS? WCS. Well, don't fucking worry. Quit it. Check out the War Chest. Quit wasting your day grinding the ladder and losing those precious ladder points. For a limited time, you can level up your War Chest, unlock skins just by simply watching BaseTradeTV. Monday through Sunday. Sunday. Lots of skins. Hell yeah, there are. Buildings too. We also get part of the sale. Cash money. Just use our unique link or click below the stream. Contributions from the War Chest will go towards funding BTSL Season 3. While the War Chest and the affiliation we have with it are things to Blizzard, please understand that the thoughts, opinions, shitposts, and memes we represent do not represent Blizzard Entertainment. There are no side effects. This isn't a drug, but if it was and if there were, they would include the game slightly taller, muscle definition, sexual appeal, larger general sense of well-being, and the inability to be tilted on the ladder thanks to all the cool skins you have now to show off. Speaking of building skins, here's a joke for the road. The War Chest is like an emotional wedding. Everything comes in tears. All right, folks, thanks for watching that break. But yeah, now we're going to be getting into the other series. We had hosted the incorrect lobby server. It's not US West. We're going for Central again, all that good stuff. But we're hopping into it now. Also, I had mentioned to TLO before the show today. I'm like, hey, I know we're going to have a little bit of front page time, but we never know which front page time we're going to get when it comes to Twitch. It looks like we did not get the priority spot. Funny enough, Vibe did. For the war chest, so we are like third string on the front page. But what is cool for me is that's 2 different StarCraft streams up at the front page right now. Represent, boys. But yeah, we're getting into this one. The beautiful thing about this tournament, though, I've said this before, I'll say it again. This tournament has no sponsor logos on it. There's no sponsorship requirements. This is totally something we're just doing for some fun. So viewership is not so important to me, but I am glad you guys are tuning in. So thank you for watching.
Yeah, you know, and we appreciate any content that's made for StarCraft as a pro player. Like, you know, having base trade around has been a huge asset to the community. And, you know, as a, you know, I think we're like in kind of like a heartfelt time of StarCraft at the moment where, like, you know, we know what happened at Blizzard and something's on so great. So like, I really feel like we as community like have kind of like grown more together because of that. And
aww,
you know,
awesome memes with TLO, folks. But
you know, just we just all love StarCraft, right? So just gotta do all the StarCraft that we can StarCraft.
Well, we can talk about some StarCraft love in a moment. Big thank you for the bits. I'll do a proper shout out after we get into game. It's Kairos Junction for game number 1. All right, Lumberjack. First off, thank you for the 1,000 Banling busting bits he brings into the chat. Bring Whiteware out of retirement and show match TLO. Seed the funding. But what is this new? Lumberjack has just earned a new 25,000 bits badge. I didn't know that was. That's a cool announcement, I guess. Congrats on your new badge, bro. But folks, it's a brand new best of 3. And things are kicking off this TVT. Oh, a little bit no good. So let's quickly get these intros done. At the bottom right is going to be Dust Gaming's Vindicta. And his opponent to the top left, looking for a proxy. We got the Blue Terran Future, playing for Infinity Gaming.
Yeah, we're off to a pretty quick start here with a double barracks out there. And Vindicta actually went gas first and then barracks. Is that, I guess it's pretty standard in TVT. I don't know if it makes a difference against defending a proxy like this.
Well, Kairos Junction is a really unique map, specifically because of where the Reaper hop-up spots are. Mm-hmm. Also, well, no one else is doing this. I've got a lot of respect for Kelazur. Kelazur, he built like a Protoss player on this map before. Oh, he's going to see this. I don't think he'll be able to kill both the SCVs. He might be able to kill one and stall out of barracks, but yeah, this is super annoying for future. One of the beautiful things about StarCraft that was, you know, you mentioned quality of life changes from Blizzard before. This was definitely quality of life, maybe even balance. You can target the SCV through the building a lot easier now. So that's why Vindicta is having no problem sticking to this SCV building, but oh, this is still no fun. Even if this second SCV gets the barracks up, which it won't, this is still problems because this really offsets the opening. And oh no, is someone lagging?
Oh my god.
It's like, is he just gonna rage quit, plug pull, old Dota style?
Oh, it was lag. It was just lag. That's why I lost the SCVs. No, I don't know. We don't know what's happening, but that's an unfortunate situation for Future.
Well, 2 seconds from finishing. Just so you guys are aware, if I don't think Future is truly plug pulling by any means, but if he does disconnect, we will resume from where we are now. Oh, there we go. So he's not gonna get a regame out of this. He's not gonna be like, oh yeah, I plug pull. Oh, I guess we have to start over from scratch. No, we'll recover game and see where it goes. But to be honest, this doesn't look great for Future in this first game.
By the way, do you know like the anecdote why we have resumed from replay? I think it's great.
So one Korean match, right? The crazy, I can never remember who it is.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a GSTL match, and Mike Morham actually happened to be in the audience while that happened. So, like, we're pretty sure that he was like, "Hey guys, like, we gotta fix this. Like, you gotta get a resume for replay option." And I think that's, not many games actually have a function like this. I've seen like, especially like. I mean, the Battle Royale games, yeah, all, they are the hot stuff nowadays, but they don't have like any cool functions whatsoever, and like I look down on them. But in Battle Royale, if you have a disconnect, what do you even do? Like, there's nothing you can do to like actually have any competitive integrity after that. And I think it's cool that StarCraft has resumed from replay, because ever since then, nothing bad really can happen. Like, you can still mess up games if somebody had like a lag spike or like he disconnects right in a battle or something like this, but we have so much more stability since then, and it's awesome.
So I just got a point. We've been given the reason why that lag happened. Allegedly, Future's brother started downloading Fortnite.
Wait, no, for real? I was going on this rant about Battle Royale, and that's amazing.
He said, "Yeah, can we resume? My brother started downloading his Fortnite, and it lagged me out."
See, and apparently good is coming out of these Battle Royale games.
Well, apparently he was floating like 100. I didn't quite catch this, but apparently he's floating like 100 gas. He couldn't even start the Reaper out of the barracks that did finish up. So, I don't want to rewind too far because I don't want to give him his SCV back. But at the same time, I don't want to go right at the DC because obviously you've been probably offline for a second or two. So
yeah, I think it did look like legit, like the way everything was behaving looked like lag, and the fact that no unit started in the first barracks was a little bit strange. So. I would believe him there.
I'm going back 5 seconds. I'm going to go back 5 seconds, I think, to be safe. So it ended at 139. We're going to resume at 134 to be safe. And for those who don't know how this works, it's really sweet. It's really simple. It's just like quick fast forward, pauses the game. Like I said, at most, this might give him like 5 HP left on his SCV, but it's still going to die. Like, there's nothing that's about to pop out of the barracks and save him. So this is still going to play out the same way. It's just how these players react to the situation.
Yeah, it's really cool that StarCraft replays are just saved as text files, basically, that like basically just play out the commands.
I don't want to be that guy, Tilo, but I actually have a counter about replays and cool stability and all that stuff. But hang on, let's see if they're ready.
Okay.
Okay, they're saying they're ready. Because one thing I really like about Fortnite's replays over StarCraft's is like, okay, yeah, they don't have the same recover game feature and stuff like that. But they have so much more deep diving options you can do. There's like cinematic quality. Oh, this changes everything. That second barracks before was stalled out with 2 seconds to go on it. This time around, Vindicta, I don't know if he just stopped microing, assuming he would kill it. A little bit luck of the draw from Future. I firmly believe Vindicta could have still denied that second barracks, but he left his SCV on auto attack, so it just derped into the building. I've seen this happen so many times because he likely looked back to his main base. Also, I gotta give a quick little bravo to the way he's building, although it seems to be off by 1 depot placement, because this is not so perfect. I had mentioned before, Kelazur's been building in this very unique way in TVT and other matchups where you wall this off in the same fashion, but this is a very inefficient version of that wall, as Reapers can still walk up that ramp fairly easily.
This is a little scary for Vindicta now, like he's outnumbered 2-1, but the second Reaper is about to pop, and as soon as that Hellion is out, then it's kind of like this rush is almost over, isn't it?
One Hellion's not a done deal, actually. Reapers are incredibly efficient in fighting against Hellions, but 2 would be a done deal for sure. So Vindicta still has to be on his toes. That's why he's left his SCVs pulled. Things are definitely scary, but the Hellion will start making things easier if Future is complacent. As you can see here, he's been very active with his Reaper grenades.
Oh, that's really dangerous.
Look at that micro back on that Reaper too. This is what I'm talking about. Like he's not out of the woods yet. He still has to pull SCVs because this Reaper count is tremendously scary.
I think all Vindicta needs to do is stay up the ramp though. Like going down the ramp there was a huge mistake, and he should learn from that hopefully.
I love chat say tactical Fortnite disconnect. Yeah, that's how that played out. Okay, so just a little explanation too for any of the newcomers from the front page or what have you. A big part of why this wall gets put in a weird way like this is because these are the only spots you can hop up on the base. There's no little ledges over here. It's too tall. So he knows with Reapers, there's only one direction he has to worry about. And it's either this little weird pocket that's created by building like this or the right side. Either way, once the Cyclone's out, he's for sure good to go. I think he's pretty good with 2 Hellions as is. But as you can see, your Future's still investing in. 2 more Reapers just came out. Now he starts floating the barracks 1 home, 1 for high ground vision. I love this little move. And Cyclone versus Cyclone Wars can be very, very volatile in early game TVT.
Yeah, Future, you know, he didn't get the damage he was seeking, but he's not totally out of this game. He's a little bit behind in workers. He hasn't started his CC yet, so like it is significant, but he can definitely still potentially come back from this. That barracks is really annoying.
It is, and it's really useful for scouting. It's basically a slightly more expensive Overlord in that sense, with 1,000 health.
A lot more tanky too. Like if my Overlord's at 1,000 hit points, like if I could make an Overlord for 150 minerals, I'd even spend 200 for that, for making a 1,000 HP Overlord.
Yeah, I get some sick scouting from it. I mean, the beauty is like this does get him some important scout. He sees it's a second CC, not an all-in. He sees the tech lab, not spinning, so it's probably a Raven, not a Banshee, but still, like, Future gets some very valuable information off of that second barracks. My big question, though, and I'm not expecting you to make the calls in this one, but, like, my big question just generally is, like, will one of these guys go mech? Because I'm not a fan of mech, but it's becoming a lot more popular in this matchup.
So the fact that Vindicta is getting a third gas at his natural before his CC is even down should be indicative of something like that. I expect a second Raven at least or something like this. Like, we could even maybe see something as crazy as a battle cruiser. Like if I see a third gas in CBC at the natural at this stage, I basically know it's a battle cruiser, but I don't think we're gonna see that in a TVT. But
no, you can always wish and dream.
Yeah, another Raven.
Ravens are just so functionally amazing in this matchup. I wish I was better at controlling them. I lose mine to stupid things all the time. I hate TVT.
Yeah, Interference Matrix is really cool. I wish it would be, I guess it's used a little bit in TVP, but it would be cool if it would be a little bit more use, but it's really nice to see it get play in TVT.
I have a fun fact here, by the way. So, I don't expect you to know anything about the way I play the ladder TLO. So I'm going to inform you very briefly here that I hate TVT so much that for 3 seasons, I've just instantly left every TVT. Just not interested in playing.
I wonder why you're not good at the matchup.
Well, hey now. That's not where this is going, but fuck. My point was when I did the Twitch Rivals run, my biggest fear is that I'd run into TVTs, right? Because I'm not good at the matchup.
Yeah.
But the one TVT I did win actually had a little semblance to do with the balance, and like Thors are stupid good against air units now. Like that one little extra range made a world of difference, and I won the one TVT I played on that Ladder Rivals run. And I was like so convinced I was gonna lose because I haven't played the matchup in like a year.
Oh no, Vindicta wasn't mining there for 10 seconds, but that's okay. I'm glad the TVT worked out with Mass Thor.
Well, sorry, it's quickly highlighting a nice pickup on that medevac too. Those Cyclones are so important right now because Future doesn't have a lot. Those Cyclones can shut down most of what's here. But pulls away from mining, these are a lot of Reapers. You can't be complacent about this.
Yeah, unfortunately, it turns out tanks are pretty good against Reapers.
Yeah, but I mean, these still picked up like these units are out of the game, right? The longer the game goes on, the less useful Reapers are. So the fact that he's finding any use for them right now,
he gets
a Cyclone with that too? I mean, wonderful moves out of Future with these essentially dead units. 6 SCVs and a Cyclone. And scouting. Not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that was definitely the best you could get out of that. But looking at, like, those double Ravens, that's really scary in TVT.
It's a lock-on. He wanted to go for it, but that tank is a little too scary.
Oh, yeah, if he just unsieges and would have moved out at the same time, you can just break that. But at the same time, Vindicta doesn't really have any like pressure on him.
I love this Viking micro that's been coming out of Future, by the way, even forcing an interference matrix on a Viking of all things. Because Vindicta is losing these little air scuffles, and if you guys have watched any caster talk about this matchup, you know how valuable air control is. And at some point, if you just start winning that, you just build Liberators and win the game. So small little pickoffs here, keeping that one Viking alive to repair it out of Future. I mean, these are all huge moves, even though they look very subtle.
I feel like Vindicta just didn't have enough confidence here. Like, he could have broken out of this really easily a minute ago, but now there's 3 tanks nicely lined up. Future has more Vikings. There's a Cyclone that is about to go down. No, 1 hit point.
It had the Vikings gave vision to that tank. The fact that that left with 1 health, amazing. Lock-on is going to be really useful here. Same with the Marines. So Future can't cross this line of scrimmage that's been set up, so to speak. But Future could also stop turning this into a big attack and turn this into a soft contain. Back at always putting down more production, but a 3rd CC is certainly not out of the question.
It's unfortunate that Vindicta basically
lost
all his Raven. Oh,
Future didn't see the 2 medevacs leave out by like a literal second of difference in timing. I'm not sure if he's going to be aware that there's something coming to his top base because everything is rallied out on the map right now.
Yeah, that's going to be impossible to stop him. He doesn't really have any production. That's like his main issue, that his infrastructure really sucks. So if there's 16 Marines in your main and you make 1 tank at a time, and he doesn't have anything in production except 2 Vikings right now.
He may have to just fully pull back from this.
Yeah, because he sure as hell is not going to attack into what Vindicta has.
Perhaps
maybe
those
Vikings.
Nice interference matrix on the Liberator, but those medevacs are fully unloaded in the main base of Future while this goes on. And I don't know if Future can just move through what's left, but those Liberators are going to take care of the tanks. And the question is, does Future pull back or does he go for a base trade?
The issue is Future doesn't really have units, that can push into anything.
The answer is neither, Teal. Oh, for a guy who looked like he was going to win that game, that double drop out of Vindicta, it was so risky, first off, to pull 16 units out of your defense. But he snuck them out so perfectly. That went really well.
Yeah, and, I think it was a really valid move. In StarCraft, it's really important to take chances to win a game, because if you just keep back and defend, even if you're ahead, it's really easy to lose games, because your opponent is taking like small risks to potentially win, and you're like not doing anything to win, you're just playing to not lose. So I like moves like that a lot.
It's an interesting way to put it. You're not playing to win, you're playing to not lose. I think that would definitely personify a lot of my ladder experience.
I think that's the problem, a lot of non-pro Terrans in general have, because it's so scary as Terran to move out.
So, quick note, we just had our first veto used of the day. So, Future had picked New Repugnancy and Vindicta immediately, like he was waiting to hit the enter button, hit veto, and now we're going to King's Cove.
Very interesting. I guess New Repugnancy is a lot smaller, a lot better for small pushes. And, considering how the first game went down, maybe Vindicta feels like he's better in like just a longer macro game. So, there's not a bad choice.
There's logic and reason in that. But let's not forget, I would say majority of our vetoes have been used in a fuck you manner. And that's the only reason I bring this up is because how fast he said veto. Like, that wasn't like he saw the answer, had a moment to think about it, and then wrote veto. Like, he had pre-wrote veto and was just hovering over the entry key waiting to enter it. Like, that was so fast of a veto, you know what I mean?
I think you're underestimating the APM and reflex strength of StarCraft 2 players.
Fair enough, it is a couple of StarCraft nerds, but all right, players are ready. We don't have a map intro for this one, but I want to let you guys know I'm working on it, and this might, not definitely, but this is going to go up there with like Stasis in terms of like good meme introductions when they finally come in. So, yeah, we'll just go to the boring normie load screen. Ugh. Look at this guy. This is what you missed. Portraits. Woo!
I wonder. Okay, you go ahead with introductions.
We'll get these out of the way really quick so we can just chitter chatter. Of course, it is game number 2 in the top left. He's up 1-0. We've got Dust Gaming's Vindicta, and his opponent took some Marines up the behind. We have the Red Terran Future playing for Infinity Gaming.
I'm still hoping for the countdown at the beginning of a game rather than the random game, the random bar at the bottom that can finish any time. I wonder like how much stress this has induced over the last like 9 years of StarCraft 2. The fact that people are like,
it's that 1 second of anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know. Like, you just have to be ready anytime.
Especially if we were to super rewind time back to the day before auto mining existed, right?
Yeah,
and you had to actually micro everything.
Yeah, like you actually can lose a game by like not being like right on that. And I really hope they still implement that. Once it loads, there's like 3, 2, 1 game.
Oh gosh, what was his name? There's a protest, but I think was it Acro? I might be confusing for someone else. It was way back in the Zotac Cup. He was playing against, I think it was like Polt, and he didn't start mining for like 1 second, just 1 second, and quit. It wasn't a regame, it was a forfeit, because he realized like he can't even waste 1 second against Polt.
Well, I think that's a little dumb, but
I could be misremembering the protest name, so don't take that one for serious, but that definitely happened. I remember at the time going like, wow, like that's how crazy StarCraft is, man.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put too much, value in like 1 second of my time, but it can, if build orders line up in a certain way, like if you have a CVC with like a Ling Baneling order, like 1 second not mining can mean the queen doesn't make it to the ramp, means you lose a game, right? But I wouldn't quit a game that I didn't mine on for 1 second.
I think that's kind of what I like about the state of the game now, though, because you had a lot of really harsh losses in earlier days of StarCraft that were just, it looked brutal. But nowadays, I think there's a little bit better options for recovery. You're not caught so badly with your pants down all the time.
Yeah, and people have become so much better because of that too. I remember a time when I could ladder, and if I didn't know my opponent, I could just fuck around and do anything.
Wait, are they both going to proxy starports? I think they're both going to proxy starports.
Which one is closer? I think the Futures is closer, but
I think Futures is closer too. Also, speed-wise, just out a few seconds sooner. Hashtag build order talk, but I saw this with Kelazar versus Tasia, and the stupid thing is, if it is Liberator versus Liberator and not a Cloaked Banshee or something weird, it pretty much is like whoever's Liberator gets there first wins most of the time, but as you can see, neither player is going for a Cyclone. Neither player is going to have an easy way to remove that.
Oh, Future is scouting around a little bit, though, but he's not going to find it looking at the Shift Q path. Vindicta is in a little bit better position to deny a Reaper, but neither of them is actually going to scout each other.
This is great.
Oh yeah, it is Liberator. Oh no, it's a Medivac for Vindicta. That's interesting.
Okay, this I've seen on other maps with bigger main bases. I don't think a Hellion Elevator on King's Cove makes the most sense, but it's a very different dynamic because Future can actually defend this, whereas Vindicta has no real means to stop that Liberator until the Cyclone eventually comes out way later.
Yeah, well, he's starting a Cyclone now. It should it should be done like by the time, or almost done by the time the Liberator gets there, no?
He's revealed, but yo, there's an SC. Wait, what? There's an SCV in this medevac. We got a little R2D2 repair droid.
Yeah, and we all know, of course, that SCVs can repair within the medevac.
I just don't know there's gonna be enough micro where you're like auto-repairing Hellions inside the medevac.
Probably not. And I feel like Future just has enough units to defend this. There's 3 Hellions, and in the end, the medevac doesn't do too much.
Luckily, though, the Cyclone does pop at a pretty opportune time. However, that's still a lot of lost mining denied here, as Vindicta will still eat the resources lost. But they're both on their way to natural bases. Both deflected the initial attacks, so this game is still far from over.
Yeah, I would give Future definitely a pretty strong advantage here, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a little bit scary with all these 3-person Hellions out, and that could be like a follow-up attack, right?
Cloak Banshee is gonna be the follow-up actually out of Future, which is really interesting to double down into. But I guess there's not much in the way of detection. Oh, there will be a Raven, so I take that back.
It's actually kind of cool because Cyclones used to like be able to kill all these squishy units so easily, but now actually Hellions and Reapers kind of reasonably can kill a Cyclone with only 120 hit points.
He should be able to deny this cloak, by the way. That's really nice. Makes the Banshee investment a lot less worthwhile, but queues up a Raven before losing the Tech Lab, so he can still build out of the Starport, but he's going to have to pull back eventually. Speaking of which, tries to kill that Cyclone, because the medevac was targeted, would die no matter what. Hoping to get some scouting by the looks of it. That's about all he's going to get, though.
Yeah, this is looking pretty solid for Future. Third CC done.
He didn't see the third CC with that Reaper, by the way. If he saw it would give him the freedom to start his own, he may just do it anyways based on timing. Yeah, there we go. But not getting that scouting information is a bit rough.
Yeah, it's a little awkward having this starport out for future now on the map, but he still, you know, is making use of it. Actually, I wonder if he just pops down a reactor right in the middle of the map for like a Viking siege, you know?
I think if he had more control of the game, that would totally be a viable option, but unfortunately, it's been a lot of deflecting on both sides, so I don't know if he's got that power. Auto turrets come down from both instead of interference matrix. Interesting choice.
Bold attack, but not working out.
It was ambitious, to say the least, yeah. But,
yeah.
Oh, Future's playing Mech behind this. I mentioned this briefly in game 1, highlighting it again now. Mech, for all you guys have known about in TVT, has not changed much through time. But one really solid aspect of it, even with new cyclones and what have you, is still just like it's an expensive build. The buildings themselves for production are expensive to take gas. This is not something that gets up and running quickly. So Vindicta doesn't have a near death in his future, but if this gets maxed out, if this gets out of hand, Mech is so difficult to deal with.
And she gets denied in the main base of Vindicta, so, you know, it'll be interesting when Vindicta finds out about the mech, right? Because he still doesn't even know, and that's always really rough if you're playing against mech. As a Zerg player, I can tell you, it's really rough playing against mech if you don't know you're playing against mech. You need to make completely different decisions. And
I think the beauty of TVT is it's not that much different. It just comes down to the principle of Marines versus Marauders, because you're still going to get tanks, you're still going to rely on Vikings, so it's not as drastic as EVT.
I agree, but even just the fact that he's still getting double reactor when you might want to get Marauders, right? At least as far as I know. I'm actually, like, my TVT knowledge is so bad. I'm like quote-unquote pro gamer, but I don't even know if I know more about this matchup than you do.
Well, he actually, he just scanned, he saw all the factors, so now he knows for sure it's going to be Mech. There's no question about it. But, side note here, actually a little fun thing about this matchup, because I don't know if you would have ever seen this, even in ZVT. Did you know about the Cyclone Magfield Accelerator bug and Medivacs for a while?
Wait, what?
Okay, so Magfield Accelerator does the bonus damage, blah, blah, blah. But more importantly, the visual upgrade is, like, the Cyclones get those little laser sights, right?
Yeah. Oh, did the Medivac get the laser sights?
Well, it sort of, for like a good 3 months, it went unfixed where it didn't just get the laser sights. The laser sights appeared 10 feet above where the Medivac was. So it would move around with all these random lasers. Like if you had 2 Cyclones in the Medivac, it'd be 2 sets of lasers pointing in random directions 10 feet above the Medivac's head, and it would follow it around. It was really stupid.
I actually never saw that, because you rarely see a Cyclone in a Medivac in CVT.
Right.
That's great. I love bugs like that.
Me too, because the thing is, it's so innocent, it doesn't break the game. So you're like, okay, I can live with this, but oh, that's a lot of lock-ons, and it is Magfield Accelerator. You can't repair this. That's a dead command center. That's 800 damage over 15 seconds. Oh my god, get wrecked. Now he's going to try those opponents.
At the same time, Future's base is also going to go down, I think. There's more than enough units to take that down. Not as many Cyclones, but Marines. And
Future can afford a few more losses than Vindicta necessarily in a situation, though. He's got so many SCVs extra he can throw into the mix. That command center game, mass repair, does live for the time being, but more importantly, is Future paying attention to his back. Those Cyclones just need like a second to lock on, and these tanks are dead. Auto turrets instead of interference matrix. I guess Cyclones don't have a lot of health, but the auto turrets still go down pretty quick. The main forces here are still so tunnel vision on killing his command center. It took killing 22 SCVs before he could finally stop it from burning.
Yeah, this was a huge mistake by Vindicta. He's in grave danger now. He's actually not even mining his natural anymore. There's a Banshee, and I feel like he could have taken out that CC if he actually jumped on top of the SCVs first. Oh my god, yeah, nothing is going for Vindicta's favor anymore, and supply is speaking a big story here, as our friend Todd would tell us. 115 to 70.
The beauty is, he is up 1-0 in the series, so if this does turn into a loss, at least he's got a final map to fall back on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I gotta applaud Future, though. I don't think the mech necessarily is what's winning him this game. It's his decision-making, and frankly, contrasted to Vindicta's decision-making. But he does nuke down that command center really fast thanks to Cyclones. Anything that's left here is going to take bonus damage. Cyclones deal bonus damage to the tanks. Hellions deal bonus damage to the Marines. Like, Vindicta's army is just out-typed here in a big way.
Yeah, out-typed and outgunned. This should be the GG from Vindicta. I really like the patience of Future, that he didn't he didn't jump on his own third base defense-wise. I think that's what won him the game, as you were saying, his decision-making. He didn't panic, he just waited until he could have a nice, clean cleanup. So that's You know, that's always a sign of a good player.
It's the G. All right. That's going to tie things up for our first ace match of the day, but it is a best of 3. Also, before we get into this next match, reminding everybody that the losers match will play first. So the loser of this series will play against Gametime in a best of 3. Then we have 2 best of 5, winner match and group finals back to back. So we're almost at about the halfway point of the show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. Thank you again, TLO, for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And then we'll find out the last map. Port Alexander. All right. Post this bad boy up really quick. In the meantime, if you guys are curious and hungry for more StarCraft, as I mentioned before earlier as well, TLO and many others will be playing their groups tomorrow. Same time, same channel, all that good stuff. And then on Sunday, we'll have the group finals, which will be a shorter cast than most. But, oh, not Port Alexander. Future whips out his veto.
Oh, okay. Cyber Forest instead.
Okay. I love that still, at this point, nobody plays Year Zero. This works out well for me.
It just doesn't feel like a very fun map. I don't know.
Cyber Forest or Year Zero?
No, Year Zero.
Okay.
I think people always dislike maps that are like so long. Also, it has a really depressing skin. Like the tile set, I hate.
Got Amon, dude. Like, it's a bad guy map. Let's be real. Let's call it what it is.
Every single programmer wants to basically play on maps that all look like Odyssey. And like, we like green maps and like beach maps. Because, you know, if you're playing this game all day, why would you look like at a depressing, like scorched, dark landscape? It's just depressing. Makes me want to spread a lot of creep though.
I miss a lot of the winter maps. I thought there was a lot of like Belshire Vestige Winter, or not Belshire Vestige, Belshire Beach Winter, and like some of those old school maps. Those were really like aesthetically pleasing to look at.
I loved King Sejong Station as well. You know, I think it's a similar, the similar reason why people like the jungle maps is because the winter maps are more bright. They're just visually more engaging than those dark maps.
Well, King Sejong Station actually had one of my all-time favorite Easter eggs on it. Do you know about the Lich King on that one?
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, in one of the caves in the top right or the bottom left, because it's mirrored, if you spun your camera 45 degrees, Arthas is frozen as the Lich King in one of those caves.
Oh, that's great. I had no idea.
So I always love finding little things like that the map makers throw in. It's just like a cute little Easter egg thing. But all right, folks, we're here for game number 3. Things tied up now 1-1. Spawning here in the top left, we have Dust Gaming's Vindicta. And his opponent to the bottom right, the Red Terran, Infinity Gaming's Future. I don't know much about Infinity Gaming, but they've been picking up a lot of players. It's just like a large roster of people playing for Infinity Gaming right now.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to see that there's a lot, like, what feels like a lot more new organizations coming in StarCraft 2. They're not necessarily like the biggest, most known esport teams, but, you know, the more the merrier. And
like Panda Global, Kelzer's team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on this, right? First, I think it's really cool that there's a support structure that you can create a team and have a lot of people on that team. Whether you're paying them or not, doesn't matter. You've got these players all playing under a banner. But on the other side of it too, the downside is it's so few. Like, you've got Psystorm Gaming grabbing a lot of players. Infinity Gaming now has a lot of players. Brute Gaming kind of in that category. Then everyone else is just like 1 or 2 people per team, and it doesn't really feel like a team, you know?
Right, but yeah, I understand. Like, I don't love it when team have like 8 players necessarily. But if teams manage to like pick up a roster of 4 or 5, I think that's a really good number for StarCraft.
Well, as we bring up this topic, I wonder, because I've never really thought about it from this aspect. I know that we're having a lot of trouble bringing new talent into the game, right? Like, yes, you get a couple of rising stars like Raynor here and again, but like in Korea and other regions, there's just not a lot of new blood. And I'm wondering what element at play the academy teams back in the day played to that, right? Because I can't think of how many people, like, was there enough people who actually were on academy teams that became pro 2 years later, or did that have no bearing on it whatsoever? I honestly don't even know.
Like, do you mean in Korea or
just general? But mostly I think Korea,
like,
probably is a good focus.
For the most part, there was not really any academy teams anywhere. You know, Korea just had like big team houses that had a lot more players than we even really knew. And then just always like pick the best.
Well, so, I'm thinking of instances where like Cure, right? Cure was left on the B team. He was never allowed to even play in online tournaments for the longest time. Teams dissolve, and now Cure's like one of the spotlight players for Korea.
Yeah, like the fact that in Korea you had basically players that wouldn't be good enough to play in the GSL, but they would still be able to practice with all the best players. That definitely helped. A nice pickup by Future there. Actually, a long time away from the first units of Vindicta that would be able to deal with that. The Hellions just started production. No Marines in production. This is really annoying.
He's really hoping to poke this before it healed up too, because that was SCV killable before, but right now he is buying time for the command center to finish. As long as this does finish, touch it, Vindicta, just touch it. Okay, hops the SCV inside. Love that subtle little move, keeps the SCV alive. But one Reaper does not necessarily stop, or excuse me, one Hellion does not necessarily stop two Reapers. Not to mention
there's a Hellion from Future as well.
Regarding shoutouts, guys, sorry, we'll get to them. Like I said, it's a little bit difficult to juggle here with TLO on the cast. We'll do some shoutouts in a bit, I promise.
Yeah, it's my fault, guys. Don't blame Graham.
It's not TLO's fault. Blame, because Streamlabs used to do an instant replay for the co-caster. Now, like, 50% of the time shows it up. I don't know, they changed something with that. Anyways, High Ground is helping out a ton here. Marines take down that last Hellion, and it looks like Vindicta will hold. I love the SCV that was repairing this the whole time. But man, was this costly.
That SCV actually saved that Hellion's life because Future accidentally misclicked on the SCV. Else that fight could have been won by Future there, I think.
For those asking, did the tree burn down? Yes, all foliage of the game can get caught on fire. It looks really silly because it doesn't happen too often, but if you are a Terran player who plays with Hellions, you know this because you see it all the time. I want to point out the almost hilarity of the follow-up medevac, by the way, because if that Hellion from earlier survived and didn't dedicate to that ramp, he has so much to bring to Cyber Forest, which has one of those mains I described before, where you're just never going to see anything unloading into it. So instead of 2 Hellions or 3 Hellions, it's 2 Reapers and a single Hellion. A Viking landed should handle this.
Yeah, at least the Viking landing made it very easy for the medevac to pick them up.
Well,
now Liberator is following up.
This just raises my question of, like, was it worth dedicating to that ramp? I think not. Like, he would have got so much more damage done here. Like, look, even with just a mediocre amount of units, he's killed 5 SCVs. If this had a second or a third Hellion attached to it, Vindicta loses so much more than what the ramp cost him over here. So
that's true. Like, I agree with that, but at the same time, we gotta look a little bit at the worker count. Like, Future definitely got the job done because he just kept picking up workers from the beginning.
And was that third CC? Yeah, that's a whole CC ahead of his opponent too.
Yeah, and 7 workers ahead. So maybe it was a mistake at the end there, but well, you know, still a job well done.
I bring this up not to say, like, bad job, you could have done better. It is more like that criticizing his decision making we had talked about in other games.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
But okay, bunker gets salvaged. Liberator sets up in the main. Raven shuts this down though, so this won't be too much trouble.
That's gotta be so frustrating.
Yep. I hate Interference Matrix. It's a good ability, but nice lock onto the Viking. Medivac should be able to get out of there.
There's no pickup range for Medivacs. Oh, whoa, he got out. Ooh. That's great.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if you could create a unit that had like let's throw a number out there, like something crazy, like 6 range pickup.
Yeah, and match them, it would only cost minerals.
Right, yeah, exactly. No gas required. How crazy would that be? I'm so glad Blizzard doesn't put like something like that in the game for Terran. That would be broken.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous, especially if we would combine it with like powerful units that regenerate their shields and have splash damage.
Oh, you think? Oh, that actually sounds a lot like something else. No, but sarcastic balance winding aside for the moment, that was a great escape out of Future. Barely got out of there with the medevac. As he comes back home, there is a big counter command of Vindicta. The beauty is for Future, yes, he got ahead in workers, and yes, he got ahead in the command center, but the cause and effect here is, you know, Future wasn't putting that money into SCVs. He was putting into more, or Vindicta wasn't putting the money into SCVs. He's putting in more army. So he's got a bigger, better army to show for this. And he's able to catch the starport. This is a huge deny.
Right? Like losing the starport.
Yeah, plus the 2 Vikings that were queued up with it, neither get out of there alive. Sure, a couple tanks are set up in a position that's maybe favorable, but pushing through this with a Raven shouldn't be out of the question, unless he gets scared by the Cyclones, picks up the Raven! Oh shit, Future, boy! Nice moves.
I gotta commend his decision making there. Like, moving out on the map was probably his only reasonable way to actually hold back this push. So that worked out beautifully for Future. A very, you know, good clutch decision making. But now he's a little bit overeager.
You did see, that is a caster curse right there, TLO. You can't compliment people too much. because they will immediately fuck up, and it's your fault. It's
Players
your
are
fault.
so stupid.
GG. I can't believe you forced Future to lose that game, dude. Is that match fixing? I don't know. We'll find out. TLO, show me your bet slip for that game.
Fields are toasters, man.
Fields are toast. Okay. First 2 best of 3s, 1 and done. This now sets up the rest of the group for us. So we're going to have the losers match here with Future versus... Gametime. I kind of forgot that his internet was lagging, and apparently he's still suffering through it.
Fortnite.
We could do the winners match first and give it time to settle. I feel really sad if Future forfeits, because then he's not going to get any prize money or anything. So, well, conventionally we do the losers match first because Future is suffering from some internet. Maybe we skip around.
I would like recommend to him to play StarCraft. You actually almost need no data at all, so he should try his phone plan. Like you can like link your phone. No, I do this all the time. Snoot does it all the time.
You're totally right. Like that's why I'm laughing here, because you're not at all incorrect. I've actually had the worst instance I've ever seen was Bly's internet and power died in a tournament, and he used a car battery to power his PC while he used his phone as the internet.
Yeah.
But okay, we'll look at getting this sorted, guys. I'm sorry, this does mean we're gonna have to go to a little bit of a longer break here, intermission than expected, because it looks like we can't even immediately start the other series, even though I'm sure the other players are willing to. It's just they were told a different time to be here. Admittedly, it's fair that they're not here right now. So we'll be back in a few minutes while we try and sort this out. I will, of course, come to Twitch chat with some updates once we know what's going on, and we'll be back on the actual screen with our wonderful faces once we're good to go. So thank you all for tuning in. I guess I'll play the video montage instead of ads right away, so you have something to look at, but we'll be back here in a few minutes. Oh shit, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1! That's what I really love about the way he bobbed and weaved the medevac. He knew that would be the main attraction. He knew that'd be the big target. So it kind of like forced the stalkers to stay in range of the cyclones.
Oh my god.
Save the cyclone!
Okay, he's gonna lose maybe one more marine there. The cyclone is finally here to save the day.
Nice micro. Keeps us stalkers alive.
Oh!
So sick! Oh, that was so sick!
It's literally energy, though. Energy on the Oracle's energy on the shield battery.
Where's stats is 1 probe? That's what I want.
Wait.
Oh my god.
Are you real? Oracles are so good. Oh my god. Are you fucking kidding me?
Why did David freaking kill? Right? Well, hold up. No, just think you did. Well, the Oracle's out of juice?
Yeah,
GG. Oh my god, what Patience is supposed to win? What? Also, look at this. It's the only time we're gonna see a Terran symbol.
You get a point.
Oh! Brilliant, actually. It's pretty much, yeah, I think it should have been obvious. I think.
Once 3-3 kicks in, he might have an easier time, but the fact that there's constant backstab here is just going to be so good.
Oh, man!
Like, actually taking these engagements, keeping his cool for the most part while everything was going sideways. You're like getting his up.
Oh, I tried to trap the ultras with the cool so they could get him with the liberator. That was so cool! GG! The only other person I see do that was
Impact.
I've still got the hatchery selected. I'm watching Impact's vision right now.
He sees it. He's there long enough. How does he not see it?
Oh my god, guys, it's going down.
What? Wait, is that you or is it him?
No, I moved back. That's me. I moved back.
Damn it. No, it's gonna die. It's gonna die. It's
30.
seriously gonna die. The
20.
drone sub 10 minutes and it killed it.
Oh my god, it's going down! No! What else? So the ghosts just have no problem sniping off the very few army supply that comes at them. But when there's 80 Zerglings behind these ultras, I'm watching these banlings. Oh, come on. Come on!
Oh my god!
Oh, yeah!
The Marines are in a spot where they could intersect this.
That might be kind of what he's looking for, too. He's looking for something at least. He's gonna see the Warp Prism with the Marine barely. Oh no, maybe he missed it entirely. He's not coming back. Oh no, he's reacting. He's got Marines in the main. Okay. So he's just gonna go push for the rest. Problem with this Warp Prism now.
Oh, the disruptor. This is an explosive bomb.
Takes up a turn. 5 TV.
He does start breaking stats. I said stats was going to win this game, but maybe I spoke too soon. He's down to 45 army supply. He's not winning the front line. Big steam strap from the entire army is frozen out of the game.
All right, hey guys, quick little update to what's going on. I've just written this in Twitch chat, but to let you know what's happening on our end. We're exploring some options of the future. I can't really get into it, but the issue is actually a little bit more complicated than we initially realized. So we're trying to explore some options with future to get this next game going, but it does look like no matter what, we're going to have to try and do the winners match first, which requires Cham to come back from AFK. Because again, Cham probably didn't think he was playing for another 20 or 15 minutes from now anyways. So we're gonna be just stuck in limbo land for a little bit of time, but we'll get this going here as quick as we can. In the meantime, some sub shoutouts, because like I said, it's been a little bit difficult. Again, I love you guys so much for supporting the stream, but just to explain, like TLO's gonna be in the middle of talking. Last thing I want to do is just like interrupt him to be like, shout out to Ricky D for resubbing. So I'm trying to do them a little bit like more conglomerated between games. So my apologies, since I know a couple of people have already brought this up. But I am Forever 27 gifted us up to Darius. Ooh, thank you for that, Darius. Fucking mooching for 41 months. I'm just kidding. I love you, Darius. Thank you very much. I am Forever 27. This guy is actually very generously gifted quite a few people subs, so thank you all for that. Clips 31, thank you for the 29 months. Shark Bait, ooh ha ha. Thank you for the 20 months. Says, love you, Rifkin. Ricky D for 25 says, and thanks for subbing to me the other day. Oh yeah, I caught Ricky D while he was laddering. RT, oh hey, that's right. We were talking about you earlier. RTS Rajshudar. I said that with a really terrible accent. I don't know why, but thank you for the 49 months. He says, hello. I hope you're all well, dude. And I hope you still have great things coming down the pipeline. Dinwit just gifted us up to Stream Elements, and to Messiah was a brand new Twitch Prime sub. Thank you very much for Prime subbing to us. And I hope that catches. Oh no, we missed El Baracho as well for 49. Thank you so much. I was looking at this, guys, by the way. 64 is the current high score. Our biggest sub streak from anybody is 64 months in a row. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I have a few people in that range too. I actually got to check. Can you check? You can't really check, right? You can just see it when you see it.
No, I only know because the channel's been around for 64 months. So we've had a couple people I know who are still in that range. I just don't know who they are because there's no way to easily check that. Although, I guess, if you did request your sub list, you could scroll all the way and see who's at the top, and that probably is one of those people then.
Oh, good question.
But I don't know. Anyways, like I said, guys, I'm sorry we are going to be waiting a little bit here for things. Like I said, we got to wait for basically Cham to come back or for Future to hopefully correct his internet situation, one or the other. But so with that said, I will go to that break screen again, and hopefully we'll be back with better news and better updates. See you guys in a bit. What are my mods even doing right now? I gotta call whichever one of you, or maybe even here, the fact that for like 5 minutes there's this person in chat named Livy Licks Scarlet with a message that says, gotta take a break to eat again, not being timed out. You guys gonna make me tab out and do this shit? Honestly? God,
that's funny because
damn.
I'm actually eating fried chicken right now. So it's not Graham who's eating, it's me.
God damn it. Okay, back to the break screen. See you guys in a few. All right, guys, we're back. Sorry, I pressed a couple of the wrong buttons there. But we're back, and we have an update. So we have Cham back from his AFK. So we're going to do Cham versus Vindicta while Future hopefully figures out his problems. So just to be clear, this is not the best of 3 losers match. This is going to be the best of 5 winners match that we're getting into. And do you know much about Vindicta? Did you catch any of his games with WCS, TLO?
So I played him a bunch on ladder, and he actually surprised me. He's a lot better than I expected, because I didn't really hear of him before. He, I think, is not so strong in the early and mid game, but really good at the late game.
Yes, and he likes to nuke. So
yeah. Yeah, so it's a bit of a clash of styles, though, because Cham is somebody who very often wants to finish the game within the 10-minute mark. So, it'll be interesting to see if the late game or the early game player can get ahead here.
Well, King's Cove is going to be the map. We're loading into it now. Again, that reminder that this is going to be a best of 5, not a best of 3. And the winner of this will move on to Sunday's playoffs. And because people are asking about it in the Twitch chat as I speak, $500 is the pricing for this. Last Friday, we just had an open cup. It was a fun little thing. It was $100. That's not the same thing. This is an 8-person invitational. More money on the line, more matches, better games, etc. But as I said, this is the winner's match. You'll notice there are no sponsor logos on the stream. This stream is totally brought to you thanks to the people who support this stream. So whether you watch the stream, follow the stream, which, by the way, if you're not, it's free. Go hit that follow button. Subscribe and donate. All those things are what make things like this possible. Also, again, thanks to the donations last week, I was able to bring on someone awesome like TLO to come and hang out with us tonight. So, all of that self-gratitude aside, let's get into game. It's map number 1 in the winner's match, best of 5. To the top left, we have Chivo's blue Zerg player, Cham. And his opponent to the bottom right, if we ever get the Year 0 map intro, you'll see a little cameo out of this guy. It's the red Terran player, Vindicta.
Wait, I don't understand this. The map intro thing. I saw the map intro earlier, but I didn't see, so I'm hoping to see the Year 0 one thing.
Yeah, so for all of our map intros of recently the last season and a half, I've been starting to include some real game moments, like Mana's Sick Adept Micro and other things.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've been incorporating them into the map intro. So there is a nuke on Year 0 that is definitely from Vindicta that is in said map intro.
Okay, cool, very cool.
Yeah, I know Nice Username does a style where he just makes a bunch of fake battles, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I thought there was a lot of cool authenticity to bring in the real plays that we streamed. So I've been including a couple of really cool moments here and there.
There's probably a few cool moments you could grab from one of my games at some point in the future.
Yeah, just keep playing at our stuff, dude. It'll happen. Make some awesome plays tomorrow.
Okay,
although you are going to have a really hard time topping out Rainer's Banelings that made Reddit the other day. Did you see that?
Oh, not sure.
He had like 15 burrowed Banelings on a ramp, killed the entire Protoss army.
Oh yeah, I saw that. But I had a Baneling moment with my Nidus. So.
Yeah, you did actually. The hopping in and out of it, that was pretty cool. But that wasn't mine, so I can't use it. So, damn it, TLO, you have to replicate something awesome like that again.
I could just make it happen. All right, everything is pretty normal in this CVC to get back to this game. I always like the SCV block on the 3rd base. So Terran is heading out with this Reaper. Going straight into the natural can work on those links a little bit, while there's an SCV at the 3rd base to block that drone that often wants to sneak out and take the 3rd base before the Reaper can do anything about it.
King Cup's a really interesting map, though. This is a bigger map with lots of bases, and we've seen some pretty conventional 4-base play. I'm not saying he should, but my question to you, Mr. Pro Zerg, is on this map, is it worth skipping the 3rd and just taking another one?
No, I guess you can just kill the SCV with the drone and take the 3rd base anyway.
That works too.
Yeah, unfortunately, Vindicta wasn't paying attention there. I personally... So there's a lot of maps where I'm fine with just taking another base. On this map, I feel kind of uncomfortable with taking this forward base, because it is quite a bit more forward. So any early game harass is harder. Yeah, I just don't like it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel about it. So I would usually just delay my 3rd base and rather get a 3rd queen or something and then wait for link speed if I don't just happen to kill the SCV with my drone.
Well, I'm very excited to see how this game shapes up. Of course, we have a lot of prospects for Vindicta. You've played against him recently. I've enjoyed casting him. But Cham has just been such a strong player. Unfortunately, he kind of gets shadowed out by players like Special and Kelazur representing that side of the world, but Cham is like definitely top Zerg player when it comes to this region.
I think Cham is somebody who's very hard to beat when you're not better than him. If that makes sense, there's some people that lose games against worse players, but Cham's style is just very, I make a lot of units and attack you kind of style. It's not like too, you know,
more brute force, less mind games.
Yeah, exactly, and that usually works out in the favor of somebody who's better. But that also makes it hard for him to beat somebody like Special, because for Special it's pretty straightforward to play against somebody like this, but it makes him very safe against somebody he's better against.
Yeah, so it always feels bad, because if you look at a lot of results Cham has, whether it's like things like Copa America or WCS, when he dies, he gets floored out, but then I see him win so many other things, so it's unfortunately just constantly a case of him getting overshadowed by other players, not so much him being bad. So I just want to really emphasize that, like, this, for me, is a really great matchup for him. I do favor Cham, actually, even just, like, slightly against Vindicta, but it's a best of 5, and, like, these series always... You see so many 2-0s that actually become 3-2s. That's why I love doing best of 5s, but, oh, this Banshee was destined for not greatness.
No,
Timing before the Cloak, Spore Crawler was there even if Cloak was done. That just went badly.
Yeah, that's the best feeling ever to Zerg. That's when it's just like start your lair, or like this already started, and just like hit the SD button and make more drones. Interestingly enough, he's Vindicta, that is researching Banshee's speed.
Yeah, Hyperflight Rotors to pair up with this. There's actually a style, I know Innovation and Gumio were doing this for a while, but not many people have recently, where you still go for like 5 Banshees regardless, and their cost efficiency through their speed just pays off over the long term of the game. And in that way, I kind of end up looking at the Banshee as an oracle, not just because it's as fast as one, obviously, but because it's got that same sort of don't commit with this unit, and it can do a lot of damage over time.
Yeah, so Vindicta is going a mech behind this. Looks like the typical like Cyclone Hellion style. So I kind of like the idea of just keep production with a single stopper, because Banshees are really nice with that.
I'm really jaded about this style, and I'd love to get your perspective, obviously, as someone who's probably played against this. But I feel like this battle mech of like the Hellion and the Cyclone, it's got one really great push in it, and if it doesn't work, then it's just so hard to recover from.
I think it depends a little bit on the map. And I play against, sometimes I feel like some Terrans have such good macro with it that they just, it seems like they keep fighting you, but outproduce you even though you're the Zerg. In that sense, I think that style can work, but it only really works kind of similar to what you're saying, is if you have the momentum as Terran. If you're ever ahead with that style, it's so hard to come back as an opponent. But yeah, if you get behind, there's not much punch to it, because you don't have the same defensive capabilities that like other mech has.
Right, and this is where it gets really interesting too, in terms of like what this style brings. You guys have probably seen this, whether it's on WCS or otherwise, you've seen it, right? Hellions, Hellions and Cyclones, and it's all about that ground battle. But when Banshees get added into the mix, and keep in mind, with Hyperflight Rotors, he was looking to commit, but I think after losing 2 Banshees now, he's pulled off of this a bit. So he's moved his tech labs over, he's building a reactor now. Because the style I love is when this is like 5 to 8 Banshees that get out of control and the Zerg player's forced to go Mutalisk or Corruptors. Well, guess what? Cyclones are actually amazing at dealing with both of those units, so your Banshees are somewhat protected at all times, giving you just this really powerful Terran ball. But this has already gone poorly for Vindicta's opening. He's obviously wasted, unfortunately, his commitment to them. Upgrades not being worth it. And now he's swapped over to just focus on the ground. Ooh, almost get some spicy Crucibles.
Yeah, the nice thing about this style is that Terran actually can be out of the map with it and like deal with creep and all that, but 86 drones already for Cham, so, and Hive on the way. So the main issue with Cyclone and all this is, as soon as there are Vipers out, it becomes really tricky.
Quick shout out to Shining 7 in the Twitch chat. Me too, buddy. Glad you're here. Who's casting with Rifkin? That's TLO, boys. You should recognize.
Well, I know. Like, I completely lost my accent now that I'm living in North America, so it's very hard for people to still
say Viking.
hear.
Say Viking.
Viking? The Viking? Which one is it? Viking. It's Viking. I can say Viking.
Viking.
Viking. That's, you know, normal. There's no accent.
Yeah, definitely no accent.
Fake news.
It just looks like you're asking a question like, why king? But okay, teasing of the accent aside, the Banshees did come back in, but they've been deflected. I'm more concerned about this Hellion run by. It's Blue Flame Hellions. They managed to slip through everything right to that mineral line, and even though there's a Spine Crawler here to stop it, Hellbats are actually pretty good against fighting Spine Crawlers. So cleans up 7-something drones. 9 drones go down with this. Doesn't quite remove the static defense, but this forced Cham to stay at home defend, pull drones away, and for Vindicta, a very low-cost investment.
Yeah, it was an alright move. I feel like that's one of the moves that's really good with this style if you have a 4th base in the big economy. Right now he's like forced to do stuff like that anyway to slow down Cham, but you know, I feel almost like losing the units is so costly for him at the moment that it doesn't help him much. It's like pretty neutral, right?
There is a really important aspect that you as a Zerg player probably don't know about though, and that's the fuck you factor. Where you're like, yeah, I know you got a lot of drones, but I just killed like 12, so fuck you.
It feels good as a Terran, I guess, yeah.
It does. Blue Flame can feel amazing, but one thing we should note, though, is the type advantage here goes in Vindicta's favor every step of the way. Cyclones melt roaches. Hellions melt the Hydralisks. So small-scale engagements like this will favor Vindicta, but when you start mixing in more units and getting things like those Vipers into play, Abducts more than Blinding Clouds are going to start being very costly. These units, these Cyclones, they're fragile, man. We talked about it before. Bringing it up again. 120 health is not much.
Do they still have base armor at all, or did they lose that?
I'm pretty sure they have, yeah, they have 1, so it's 2 with upgrades.
Yeah,
Thor's, of course, lost their bonus armor, which kind of feels bad, but he is going to Thor's as a small note. I don't like this because it doesn't complement the mobile part of this, and that's the beauty of Cyclone Hellion. It's very mobile, it's very quick, it's maneuverable. Thor's are slow and clumsy and powerful.
Yeah, usually you only get the Thors if there's Muta, so that's a lot of yoinks, and supply is plummeting for Vindicta. Just 1 tank. Cham is playing on top of that.
If he baits this into the planetary, funny enough, he could probably hold this, but Cham's not going to take the bait. GG's. This, you know, it was so perfectly nailed the way you described this too. There wasn't a lot of mind games finesse. There wasn't neural parasites or fungal growths. That was just him playing brute force with a lot of units and playing around Vindicta, who is making a couple of mistakes here and there. A good, solid game 1 for Cham. For sure.
Absolutely. You know, the Banshee, it's CVT is pretty, you know, you get punished a lot for mistakes in the early game, and just losing that first Banshee, I think, dictated the pace of the whole game. So hopefully Vindicta can, you know, show a stronger opening in the next game.
You know, it's interesting you say the first Banshee. I would make the argument it's the second Banshee that dictated it, because I think you can still lose that first one and commit, but losing that second one and watching him pull off of his tech lab, that was just heartbreaking as a guy who wanted to see that style play out.
Yeah, I think the style is a lot cooler with that 6 Banshees. Because it also gets tricky now. You know, Zerg needs to balance more, like, how many Hydras do I get? And Cyclones are actually really good at sniping Overseers as well. It becomes a lot more demanding for Zerg. You actually need to turn on your brain, and, you know, we all know Zergs have a hard time with that.
That interaction is actually really interesting too, because it's not just about sniping off the Overseers, but frankly, even with speed on the Overseer, you can't keep up with the Banshees. Like, you just literally can't see them no matter how hard you try. But okay, players are ready. We're gonna hop into Port Alexander for game number 2. So thank you all for joining us. We still have plenty of games, as this is a best of 5. We'll see you on the map. Actually, just having a small conversation with TLO during the intro. I'll clue you guys into it in a moment, because it is something I'd love to talk about. But before we do that, first off, we got in the top left, the blue Terran player Vindicta, currently down 1 in this best of 5. To the lower right, we have the red Zerg player up 1. It's Chivo's Cham. And I was just saying to TLO, we've actually, you know, I know there's a little bit of front page help here, but we've got a pretty awesome amount of viewership for North American stuff. BaseTradeTV for years has done all of its stuff at the Korean and the European time zones, so we don't really have an audience usually based in this time slot. Like these kind of viewership numbers are normal if we're doing stuff earlier in the day. So the fact that so many are tuning in here on a Friday night, you have my gratitude. I hope you're enjoying the show. But the interesting thing TLO asked was like, is this like a mix of like European viewers? Is it all North American? And I'm looking at the statistics right now. And keep in mind, this isn't always 100% up to date because it's about an hour behind delayed. But about 59% of our viewership right now is coming in from the United States. The US of A! Hell yeah! Then Canada follows up with a meager 10%. Hey guys, I guess you're all snowed in tonight, so you can't go out, but thanks for joining us. South Korea at 5%. Then we got Germany at 4%, tied with the UK, and every other country in the world is 1% or lower. So
nice.
Powerhouse shoutouts. Dude, Germany, it's funny. We'll be casting stuff alongside Take TV, and I do the percentage breakdown, and I'm like, why do we have more German viewers watching our English cast than Take TV has sometimes? It doesn't, not always, but sometimes.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's a lot of StarCraft 2 fans in Germany in general. And, you know, I think many people don't care if it's English or German. You know, they just care about StarCraft.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What? Actually,
yeah, and I'm actually always surprised how many Canadian viewers there are as well. You know, it's usually, if I look at my Twitter and at my Twitch, it's usually either Germany or United States first place.
Yeah.
Then either Germany or United States second place, and then a lot of times it's Canada third place. So that's kind of cool too.
We're everybody's second choice. Yay! I mean, real quick here too, I just want to throw this out there. Like, viewership doesn't matter, but there's a rule we have in our chat rules that people get really upset about because they think it's me being whiny. We have a rule is no caster bashing. Fun fact is we have a lot of people come from like Take TV or Wardy, and they're here and they're like, oh, BaseTrade, you do such a great job. Can't stand Wardy. Can't stand Naruto. It's like, dude, don't come here with that. Like, we didn't make this environment so you can just go dump on other casters, right? So, I mean, big respect to everybody who puts time and effort into this scene one way or the other.
Yeah, and the truth is, like, I would say, like, most of us are actually friends with each other in StarCraft 2. So, like, you're just, like, talking shit to, like, people be...
You know, the worst was, like, I'd be casting with Zombie Grub, and someone would be like, Rifk, you do such a better job than Zombie Grub. I'm like, you could just say I'm doing a good job. Thanks, man. Like, why are you putting someone else down with this?
For, like, being a totally... Yeah. Oh, well.
It's like that with Reddit, too. I think Reddit's a little bit more guilty, though, because... Don't get me wrong, there's some good people, but I feel like there's a lot of toxicity on the StarCraft Reddit for things.
Yeah, I feel like most of the toxic comments get downvoted for most of the time, so like it's always tempting to click on those pluses and like get down in the mud, but I you know, I think for the most part it's okay.
Yeah, of course, that reminder, Wardy made this emote. He actually didn't. Wardy stole that emote, Lumberjack, from Nick's Pip, and that's why we have a rule in our actual rules saying anyone who's a tier 3 sub to Nick's Pip is not allowed to compete in our tournaments.
That's amazing.
Of course, this is a little bit of chaos here with the Hellions. I like the build cancel with the drone. Not even willing to lose a single worker if you can avoid it. All hallmarks of a good player paying attention to what's going on.
Cham is investing a lot to get scouting. He sacrificed one Overlord. It's unusual, to me at least, to have 2 Overlords close to the turn base, but he did a beautiful job actually maneuvering it around all the way from the top. So he's getting away with it.
I haven't actually cast a laser in like half a year now, so I can't say this with recent play, but the laser used to have that style. You do the 1 Overlord scout, but it's got like Overlord speed. I always really like watching players who do that.
Yeah, I still like the Overlord speed, especially nowadays. There's some like weird stuff in CVT where sometimes people do like 2 starport battle cruisers, and it's not very good if it's scouted. But if you don't scout it at all and get a little bit confused, and suddenly there's 2 BCs in your main and you only have 1 spore and your queens are spread out, yeah, like scouting is important. And Cham is getting gold here. He's seeing its bio. He's seeing the timing of the third, so he knows what's up.
Yo, again, I just want to pick your brain while I got you, TLO, because this is relative to the matchup. You've brought up battlecruisers a couple times now, and of course, in the most recent patch of the game, they nerfed Yamato Cannon's research time by like double and then some. I haven't actually cast any battlecruiser games since then. I'm curious, are they still relevant on the ladder? Do you fight that at all?
I would say like a full game of ladder you will encounter it every day once. But that might just always be the same guy. It's not like as common as it used to be. I don't think it has too much to do with the Yamato nerf, because there were a good amount of people that didn't go for super fast Yamato nerf cannon anyway. I think it's just that people got a lot better at finding out how to abuse fast battlecruiser, and that you can actually get away with a lot as a Zerg if your opponent plays that. So it's more that people got better against it, I think.
I gotta admit, even in like the really abusive situations, I had a good amount of laughs watching some of those games. Sorry, Zerg, but it was great.
It felt like total bullshit when it first came out. You know, when you didn't really know how to play against it, and you see like 4 queens fight a battlecruiser and they just all die. So, you know, it's okay, but at the beginning it seemed a little bit rough. Vindicta going with the 2 Mavics out, now it's like...
Big scout too.
Yeah.
Cham sees this coming.
Cham sees us, he's in good position.
I do like that Vindicta took the time to try and clean up the Overlords though and open up that path. Like that Ling running around was not necessarily something you could count on. But yeah, regardless, this is a main base that's pretty big on Port Alexander, so it's a little bit difficult to see this, like physically see this coming. But his units are in the main base and ready to respond, minus a couple queens.
Yeah, Cham should have no problem cleaning this up. I like the tumor going to the left. I like the spore that he's moving more towards the corner. That's going to help out in the future. So creep spread is looking good in all directions, and Cham is shaping up for a pretty solid mid game here.
Burrow's an interesting choice. I'm curious how he plans to use this. I doubt we're going to see anything insane like crazy baneling burrowed landmines, but if we do, obviously that's got a lot of potential to be very hype. I think the very basic of basics, I've really enjoyed watching a couple Zerg players lately who are just using burrow to save their drones, if nothing else. Like a Terran player drops, they just burrow. And like, sometimes it works, sometimes it's terrible. I'm liking seeing some variety in the play.
Yeah, the truth is, burrow research should always be used in CVT in pretty much at some point. You know, you can argue when, but I never not see it be worth it at some point.
There was a pretty gross clip of Juggernaut Jason versus some Hydras that were burrowed. Did you see this on Reddit?
Oh, I saw the title of like him just killing all of them with the Hellions. I didn't actually see the clip, but I didn't need to.
You didn't need to, but yeah, so like the TLDR, right? Like the guy thinks he hides his Hydras, and frankly, he almost did. But then Jason just sits there with like 40 Hellions waiting and scans. It was so beautiful. If you're not a Zerg player, of course.
Yeah, you know, I didn't want to sully, you know, my eyes with that.
Oh, hey, iForever27 just gifted us up to TLO. Thank you for that, dude.
Oh, thank you. Now I too am a subscriber.
Yeah, now you can use half the emotes in WCS chat because the other half are banned.
Yeah, I'll get banned because I'm using things that I'm not supposed to be using the opposite reason. Thank you.
Of course, big thank you to also folks like Nate Dog 828, Snipe Hunt, and anyone else we've missed with subs. Like, again, guys, sorry, sub shouts are a little bit lackluster tonight, but we still love you nonetheless. Ultra's Cavern on the way, and I guess one thing we should highlight for Cham, you know, we've been talking about a lot of other stuff, but to note, he got to Hive Tech, and that's a pretty important detail because that is like the weak spot in most Zerg builds, right? That gap between going from layer to Hive, you're not spending a lot of money on units, you're doing tech. Looks like there were some burrowed banelings, just barely missed that. Got a nice hit on some units that unloaded, and Vindicta is since flying home from that.
Yeah, and again, Cham just once again going for a pretty brute force style. He just made a lot of links and banelings, going straight into ultras. So, and he scouted what was happening. Oh, what is that?
Yeah, are they? What's with the way they're burrowed? What was going on there?
Oh, I guess because like maybe it's just a map, like. It's like a ramp that they're sitting on or something like this, like underground.
It looks so weird. I don't like it.
Because units that are buried, they literally go down into the ground, and then if the map is weird, I guess.
I guess I've never looked at it in detail, but yeah, they're sticking their mouths out of the ground like little air holes. I never realized how banelings burrowed until just this moment.
Yeah.
So weird to me. Okay, lots of banelings can certainly get a lot of damage done, but there's plenty of tanks and a couple liberators to support this, some marauders to fall back on. Brute force is one thing from Cham, and he's certainly got numbers going for him right now, but there's a lot of unit type advantage here for Vindicta once again.
It's like, it kind of goes both ways, so tanks are very good against ultras, but if you get the jump on them, that's a pretty good surround.
He does try to target fire the banelings, an admirable move, but even though he trades out for a lot of Zerglings, picking up these medevacs, he does get the full unload in the main, and I think Cham was distracted by the tanks. Losing the tanks sucks, but losing control of your main base is even worse.
Here come the banelings, though. He got lift off. Like, you know, spreading that creep to that corner was really crucial there. Oh, no. That depot. Treacherous depot not going up.
Dude, whether it's Widow Mines or a couple Hellbats, no splash damage is making this so difficult to deal with.
Yeah, that bunker is gonna hold, you know, the stat there on the third, but this is looking pretty good for Cham.
Okay,
7
so,
Ultralists on the way.
Well, this definitely looks good for Cham. We should note that Vindicta's not necessarily out if he can recover. He does have a Ghost Academy, and Ghosts are a great response to Ultralisks, but losing a base, losing control, losing momentum on the other side of the field, all of these what-if situations don't seem to be piling up in Vindicta's favor to make a sick comeback. Also,
yeah, like he would still have been fine if he just lifted that down deeper.
You know, just tearing things. Gotta give a big shout out there to Ellen Morin. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. Is having TLO cast with you is great. Keep it up. Glad you guys are enjoying.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Oh god. He tries to save it with a Medivacs, doesn't evacuate enough. Bunker's dead to the Ultras. This game is probably like Shrek all ogre.
Amazing gaming. The Ultralists they already have speed upgrade as well, so they have Kite and Ascent speed, so that makes it really hard.
Oh, my favorite shitlord Gremlin's in the chat too. Hi Kara, thanks for tuning in. You ever play video games with a person and you're just like, why am I friends with you all the time?
No, like I just don't really play games with anybody.
Oh, feels StarCraft gamer, man.
But sometimes I play against people and think that.
The ultimate 1v1 loner, but he's getting married, so it's okay.
Yeah, you know, it works out.
Okay, Planetary Fortress not gonna hold. If you guys are noticing a little bit of wind graphic behind these Ultralisks, that's the Anabolic Synthesis upgrade. You probably haven't seen this often because not many players go Ultralisk, but it makes them faster off of creep, which is a big part of why they are a little bit less clumsy getting on top of the Terran army, but still maximum destruction as Vindicta is just falling apart here. Oh no! Oh, okay, yeah, it's not a problem, never mind. I was like, he's gonna lose his last few units to those Banelings, and then Cham just doesn't do anything with them, so never mind.
The curse of being a caster, but you know, in Cham's defense, like in a situation like this, the last thing you really care about is like a Baneling that can pick up 6 units.
Yeah, I mean, this game's over. What the fuck is this copy pasta in chat? First off, those of you who are not subscribed using my real name, cut it out, okay? You can only use my real name if you're subscribed to the channel. It's one of the subscriber benefits, okay? And I don't know what you guys care. Cars VIP, who the fuck cares? Chicken Man even subs with the same stupid copy pasta. Thank you for the 22-month resub, by the way. But okay, you see that little emote he used? That little chicken emote he did?
Is that banned? Is that a banned WCS emote?
No, but that is a little... I was drawing pictures of what I thought our subscribers looked like one day, and he screenshotted this, and that's what I thought he looked like as a chicken man. So he made it into one of his own channel emotes. It's so silly, and I love it.
That's great.
But okay, this, of course, is going to be a little bit rough. No, it's loser's pick. So Vindicta, unfortunately, now down 2 games in a bit of a rough spot. He's got to think hard on what map he wants next. But yeah, whether you guys are tuning in just from watching StarCraft 2 tonight or from the front page, because again, if we are on the front page, it'll be ending here soon. I just want to thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Hopefully you'll consider hitting that follow button, as we'll be back tomorrow with... God damn, this is getting worse, Teal. Now we're getting paragraphs of copy pasta. Graham, with all due respect, instead of making harsh rolls in your Twitch chat, you might want to look at the reason... Oh god, I've seen this. This copy pasta was an actual... You're doing it now too, god damn it. This was an actual message somebody wrote to us during a cast complaining. This was a real message. And we started memeing on it because I didn't understand the last part. Like, I'm going to go to a channel that treats their audience like an actual.
I really enjoy StarCraft 2 copy pastes, to be honest.
But the thing is, this wasn't a copy pasta. This was a guy getting mad after I timed him out in the chat. This was his response after waiting 600 seconds to come back from his ban. He typed this out.
Yeah, that's great.
We are getting the lobby hosted, guys. Don't worry, we're not just sitting here dicking around. Cyber Forest will be the 3rd game, possibly the last game, but I do want to again highlight where we are at in the tournament because we had to skip a match, right? So this is the winner's match. If Vindicta loses, he still can qualify out of the group. He just plays in the group finals. If Cham wins this with a 3-0, then we will see him again on Sunday for the championship playoffs. All right, so it also appears that poor Future is having some struggles with his internet. We may actually have a straight up forfeit.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. We'll tackle that. But these guys are ready to go.
Have to jump in.
Oh, what?
Suddenly, I just have to jump into the match. No, but I'm playing tomorrow, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So tomorrow we got a lot of great names. We got you obviously listed as one, Masa, Puck, and I'm trying to remember who the fourth one is off the top of my head.
It's a Cirque player. God damn it.
Caleb Barakis. Yeah. Yeah, tomorrow will be some good games. I'm actually really looking forward to that. And I want to see Puck play because Puck's really good. Even when he doesn't feel like he's good, he's still pretty good.
Oh no, the copy paste has evolved.
What is this? Dario, with all due respect, instead of making harsh rules in your Twitch chat, well, in fairness, guys, of all people to make harsh rules, I think TLO, he's stereotyped to be that one. But
to be fair, I am pretty strict in my chat, actually. I'm quick on the, yeah.
You and Snoop for a long time, you're like, no overusing emotes, no memes. You guys, I'm rude.
Fun is verboten.
Gonna make a great father, dude. All right, we're getting into game number 3. Of course, it is 2-0 for this fella in the top left in this winner's match. He's looking to move through to the championship playoffs. On Sunday, we, of course, have the Red Zerg Chivos Cham. And his opponent to the bottom right on his last life, but I still have faith for him to try and bring it back. We have Vindicta. Oh yeah, this is the worst one here, dude. Nothing is worse than when you're trying to play some StarCraft 2, you're fighting against a Protoss player and your laptop starts overheating because Twitch chat keeps spamming memes. Guys, can you please not spam the chat? My mom bought me this new laptop and it gets really hot when the chat's being spammed. Now my leg is starting to hurt because it's getting so hot. Please, if you don't want me to get burned, don't spam the chat.
It's so dumb. And by the way, I'm very happy to see what Cham is doing on this map. I'm a big fan of that too. Pool first on Cyberforce is a pretty small map. However, Vindicta is scouting. He's gonna see what's happening. The question is now, is Cham gonna be cheeky? Because some people make a Roach Warren with this and then have a quick Roach follow-up. So that's what I'm curious about.
Roach all-ins are really interesting to me because I feel like every time they're scouted, it's a 0% success rate.
There's one build I like to play that actually kind of works even if it's scouted, but yeah, it is tricky and it looks like it's just standard. He's, you know.
Do you ever see Anchorman?
I saw the first one.
Yeah, there's like that perfume with the Sex Panther. It's like 60% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
Oh yeah.
That's how I feel about Roach builds.
Well, I'm gonna take those 60%.
It's better than nothing. But okay, whether Vindicta is about to get hit hard or not, I think one thing we just saw to Cham though, and I really want to stress from that game, was how smooth his transition to late game was. Now, I want to argue in some ways that this is because Vindicta wasn't being aggressive enough, but he was being pretty aggressive, and he's trying to be out there on the map. So the fact that Cham had such a, I feel like, easy ride to Hive Tech just boasts his confidence in this matchup, or at least against Vindicta.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, his creep was pretty, giving him just a nice blanket cover. And Port Alexander is a pretty big map that is pretty open. So I'm sure he felt good about his situation here. But Cyberforce is a completely different story. Like you can't get away with something like that here. So you'll have to switch it up a little.
What is this clip? Rifkin's German impression? When did I do this?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it when you were like talking about me saying Viking?
I'm listening to it. One
parties with the hottest angry German DJs. I'm watching StarCraft.
No. Pause again. I remember what this is. Don't watch that clip, TLO. Please, anybody else.
Now I gotta watch that.
It's so bad. This is like, hey, in control, your cringiest German accent has nothing on what Rifkin just did.
Oh no. I wish I didn't click that link.
Yeah, I told you, don't do it, man. That wasn't like a Barbara Streisand thing where it's like, no, don't do it. Like, literally, don't do it.
No.
By the way, this is so weird. We have some mind games coming out of Vindicta this game. I've never seen anyone proxy an armory before, but he's hiding the armory, trying to hide this Hellbat attack. But I think the problem with this is not that you see an armory and think, oh, Hellbats, I'll defend specifically against that. It's that there's a lot of catch-alls that just defend against Hellbats anyway. So you make extra queens because you want that creep spread. Okay, now you've got the extra units to fight back against the Hellbats. Roaches are on the way too.
So I think the reason why he did that is because last game Cham committed like scouted really well with both Overlords, and then if he would see no armory, maybe you would under defend against it, you know. But there's no Baneling Nest. The Roach Warren is halfway done, so this might still work out pretty well.
It'll kill the queens at the very least, and then the follow-up of that Liberator should have a lot of strength. Ideally, if this goes well, but he's already taken about half the life of that medevac before the fight's even begun, and that medevac signals the end of the attack. Once that medevac goes down, that's when the army starts getting cleaned up. So Cham's done a great job kiting this army. That was like a good 10, 15 seconds, no damage going out there. Medevac almost dying for it.
Yeah, so the issue Vindicta had here was he was not decisive enough. With this, you really just need to pick one base and go for it. And I think the natural is almost always better. When queens are split up, they can do cute stuff like this. But if you just like keep waltzing towards one direction, you can't really, you know, do much.
His goal obviously was kill the queens, so the Liberator has more staying power, has more damage, but yeah, I think going for the natural base and forcing the fight here instead of chasing the queens would have been a better way to go about it. And unfortunately, this was everything for Vindicta, so he's got nothing back at home. His production facilities are all just finishing. He's producing 1 Marine right now. That's all he has.
Yeah, and you know, creep is gonna keep progressing, and it's gonna be a while until Vindicta can even like put down his 3rd base. Roaches are coming in, but you know, he should be fine, maybe, because he got a tank on the way.
The bunker should hold, I think, against the Roaches, but then Ravagers come, and I don't know. This is it's gonna be rough riding for Vindicta, but the thing is, if he survives this, if he weathers the storm, he is gonna be up in workers. He's got his 3rd CC finished up. That's an extra mule, which is a big deal, but those tanks feel like they're so far away.
Oh yeah, actually the tank is laden, so I think that might, you know, you need the best repairs ever here, but I think 5 Ravagers are just too much.
Yep. Sad to see Vindicta fall like this, but remember guys, he's not out of the tournament because this is the winner's match. He'll still have a chance to fight back in the losers, or in the group finals, because I guess now there is no losers match.
Okay, that's kind of unfortunate, but you're gonna have another nice series between Gametime and Vindicta then, I guess.
Yeah, so just to explain really quick, guys, because this is an unfortunate situation, obviously. I'm not going to go into the details of why Future's unable to play, but I have to just express that I understand that he cannot play. It does mean he will receive no prize money for the games he did play, which is a bit of a bummer. And I really like watching Future play, but he actually has a very legitimate reason for why he has to forfeit. So sadly, he will just be out of the tournament. It sucks because this really throws off the pacing of everything, but it does mean we go to our best of 5 grand finals now instead of laser. Rifkin, please say this word. Oh, this looks German, and like I'm not going to say it correctly. Okay. Let's say this word at the same time, TLO, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. No.
Semmel, yeah. Semmel.
Knödel.
Knödel. Yeah, exactly. Semmelknödel. Obviously. Obviously.
Semmelknödel.
All right. We have our group finals coming up in a moment, guys. We're going to go to a small, brief break before then. So thank you again so much for watching tonight. And we'll be back with this last best of 5 in a moment. Before we do, big thank you to all the people who supported the stream. We got some subs to shout out with Arner Bjarns. Thank you again, our temporary mod, who's still mod because I've been too stupid to unmod him. Thank you for the 8-month resub. Invalid Parameter, thank you for the 16. Gendo Akari, thank you for the 9 months. And of course, Chicken Man earlier for the 22. Pigden also is a brand new Twitch Prime subscriber. So hey, real quick, I'm about to play some commercials. Pigden, make sure you refresh your stream so that it recognizes you're a subscriber and will not give you ads, because we are offering ad-free viewing to our subscribers. Other than that, you can get replay packs from this later tonight on Discord or on Patreon, all these other good things. Check them out, because again, there's no corporate sponsor for this event. This is made possible thanks to you guys and your support. But we'll be back in a little bit. Also, shout out to Juggernaut Jason in the chat. Hey, Jason, actually, no, that's a dumb idea. All right, we'll go back. We'll see you guys in a few. Feeling uneasy about StarCraft's future? The future. Are you unsure if you can afford a war chest? War chest. What about WCS? Well, don't fucking worry. Winning. Check out the War Chest. Quit wasting your day grinding the ladder and losing those precious ladder points. For a limited time, you can level up your War Chest, unlock skins just by simply watching BaseTradeTV. Monday through Sunday. Sunday. Lots of skins. Hell yeah, there are. Buildings too. We also get part of the sale. Cash money. Just use our unique link or click below the stream. Contributions from the War Chest will go towards funding BTSL Season 3. While the War Chest and the affiliation we have with it are thanks to Blizzard, please understand that the thoughts, opinions, shitposts, and memes we represent do not represent Blizzard Entertainment. There are no side effects. This isn't a drug, but if it was, and if there were, they would include became slightly taller, muscle definition, sexual appeal, larger general sense of well-being, and the inability to be tilted on the ladder thanks to all the cool skins you have now to show off. Speaking of building skins, here's a joke for the road. The War Chest is like an emotional wedding. Everything comes in tears. Hey guys, we are back. Hello, and we're getting into this final best of 5 here in a second. So again, the update sadly is Future has forfeited. Feels bad, man. We'll just take those 25 bucks and put them into the pool for something else in the future. Like I said, we're going to try and bring Friday night fights for more North American stuff as a direct cause and effect from last week's generosity. Probably just put it towards that, to be honest. But regardless, we have this finishing up here. Oh, good guy, TLO. Thank you so much. TLO just saved all the colorblind people tuning in right now. Can I get like a heart?
At least it's not a mirror matchup, but it's, you know.
But yeah, so they are both blue, and TLO has asked them to not both be blue. I always just glaze past that, though. I just really don't look at the colors because I'm obviously not colorblind, so I don't think about it. So I always feel a little bit bad when I get guilt-tripped about it later. But ooh, we just got our first donation of the night. Bit of a slow night, but it's okay. Thank you, $5 from Terminator. Now, before I even read this, Terminator's donations are like 50-50. You know, there's a Reddit, that 50-50 Reddit, and it's like either a cute bunny or a dog being brutally murdered, and you don't know what it'll be till you click on it. That's what Terminator's donations are like for me. So just before I read this, putting that out there. He says, I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere. Okay. Thanks for sharing. All right. We're going to see if the players are ready. If they're ready, we're going to hop into game 1. Now, I got to put this out there. I am going to be testing out the new intro for Year 0. I will say really quick, I'm not happy with the last 10 seconds of it. I want to go back and redo it. But it looks, because I tried to rush it for stream today. I shouldn't have. I recognize it. But I still think the first half is really cool. So I'm still going to play it out. We'll see you guys on Year 0. Because of course it was a prequel meme. It was Terminator who fucking donated. God damn it. All right. Thanks for the $5, Terminator. Folks, I will just quickly note that I will be splitting tips tonight with TLO, so if you guys got any love in your pockets rattling around, you want to cheer some bits, donate some bucks, I will be splitting it with my co-caster, so spread the love.
Thank you so much.
It's the last cast of the night. We got 1 donation. Fucking feels bad, man. This is me guilt-tripping all of you, which I know in turn won't work, so forget I said anything, and let's just get into the game. It's a best of 5, as this is the group finals. Spawning here in the top left, playing for Dust Gaming, we have the blue Terran player, Vindicta. And his opponent at the top right, I believe he's still streaming. I'll double check, but you guys can check as well at twitch.tv/Gametime301.
Gametime seems like a really nice guy. I haven't met him in person, but he seems like a solid dude.
Yeah, maybe I've run into him at a DreamHack in passing. I don't think I've ever like.
Oh, maybe yeah.
Like
I think I've been present where he's present, but I've never got to talk to him. But I popped into the stream here and there, and he seems really nice.
I'm the exact same way with Cyril. Everyone keeps telling me how great and funny and hilarious and all these things about Cyril. It's like, you remember you were there. I'm like, yeah, like on the other side of the bar, like not talking to him, but yeah, I was there, I guess.
Yeah, Cyril is surprisingly funny. You know, kind of like dry, sarcastic humor. It's great.
Yeah. I've never had the pleasure of saying more than a couple words to him. I mean, we've talked online and invited him to tournaments and stuff. He seems like a cool dude. Same with Gametime, though. Same respect. I'm not sure I've really hung out with this guy to any degree that I would remember, but he's so freaking friendly. He's got such a nice attitude, very positive, and I think all of those reasons are why I'm very happy to say, like, I want good things to happen to this guy. But while I've been able to discern a pretty clear advantage for players in the other matches leading up to this one, I would probably call this one closer to 50-50 than any other match we've had.
I would probably give Vindicta the benefit of the doubt in this one. But anything can happen.
Oh, thank you for the 160 bits, Dexlor. Cute little heart throb. But Vindicta may be an edge I can see, just because I've seen him play silly around other Zerg players. He knows this matchup. There's no question about it. He just kind of got outplayed at the other games, so he doesn't look that hot, right? Against Cham. But I think versus Gametime, it does bring down the player skill a little bit in terms of being somewhat more on his level, so probably a better chance, at least then versus Cham, for sure. Yeah, like people look so different depending who they play against. Sometimes people go like on rants, like, oh, this player, it's so awful, like playing against Cyril, like he didn't even come close to winning the game. But it's just the nature of, StarCraft 2. If you play against somebody better, you look so much worse than your actual skill level. Because, the score does that too, right? Like you'll play an amazing series, but it's still 2-0. Yeah. And you're like, shit, well, that doesn't represent that guy at all.
Yeah, that's it's the unfortunate truth of the binary state of win or lose in StarCraft. There's like no points. It's not like Counter-Strike where if it was super close, it was like you maybe lost the best of 5, but then people can also say it was like 15-14 or like 15-13 and 13-15 or something like that, right? But in StarCraft, you just see 2-0 and that's it.
Oh, I hate that this is a donation because I have to read this. Juggernaut Jason, thank you for the $5. And I want to make it clear that it's Juggernaut Jason that wrote this. Even if it's someone else using his name, in my belief, this is Juggernaut Jason, who just wrote for me this paragraph saying, when a girl buys a vibrator, it's seen as a bit of naughty fun. But when a guy orders a 240-volt Fuckmaster Pro 5000 blow-up latex doll with 6-speed pulsing vagina, elasticized anus, and non-drip semen collector tray, he's called a pervert? Yeah, I know, dude. Been there. I know this feels.
Why am I here?
Feels like, look, we get it. You got a real woman. You're getting married. Nice brag, dude. Whatever. For the rest of us out there, though, look at you shaming. You're fading right into this. You're shaming us for being perverts.
Well, no, I'm Graham. I'm like completely okay with whatever goes, as long as it's consensual and nobody gets hurt. I'm completely okay.
Well, how can a sex doll though give consent?
Oh, well, as long as it's consensual or if there's no consciousness involved.
Dude, this is a guy, this is a real story. He's suing his parents for giving birth to him. Because he didn't ask to be born into this world. It's like it's something in India. And like the thing that's really dumb about this story, both of his parents are lawyers. It's the dumbest story I've ever seen.
Well, maybe
this
he
is
has
a real
point.
thing. Okay, name and shame later. Got a couple other shots to do in a second, but we got a bit of action watching as Vindicta gets with the Banshee. I do want to note, though, that unlike before, we don't seem to see the commitment for Banshees, so it is bio, not mech. We don't have Hyperflight rotors, but it is a couple Banshees still in the early game being very annoying to game time. And keeping this creep spread at bay, too. Almost no creep spread out in the map.
Yeah, that's a huge difference between like not losing that first Banshee. It becomes so much harder to, you know, just spread creep. I personally, on a map like this, would probably put a Swarm between the natural and the third at some point, so you can start pushing away those elements a little bit faster. But yeah, you see a huge difference in, you know, positioning already between Cham versus Vindicta and Vindicta versus Gametime. So I'm pretty confident about Vindicta in this matchup.
Yeah, he's looking pretty strong, at least in the early game. We'll see if that holds through to the rest. We got another 500 bits, though, coming from Byakurak. I don't know how to say that name, I'm sorry. But 500 bits to say, replays are solid tonight. Feels good, man. Yeah, again, if you're a subscriber or a Patreon supporter, be sure to check. I'll have those replays up before the end of the night. BaseTradeTV, do you see anything in this minimap? No, this is not like Stasis. This minimap is clean.
Is it though?
Well, do you know about Stasis? Did we ever talk about that? I feel like we did.
I think I know what happened in Stasis, and we don't need to talk about it.
Goes right back to Juggernaut Jason's donation, really.
Yeah.
But Regal ends up taking the top donation spot of the night. Donates $10 to say, because you were sad and because we love you. Aw. Well, me and TLO could split that for a Subway sandwich or something. Thank you very much, dude.
Little
by the way,
coming up.
You're living in Canada now.
Yeah,
for some time.
Toronto.
How great does it feel being paid in US and living in Canada?
Oh, yeah. You know, I mean, the thing is, like, Toronto and both Vancouver are still both pretty pricey when it comes to rent and stuff like this, but it definitely helps to be, you know... And then, you know, when I was doing stuff with DeepMind, I was being paid in pound and, like, convert that to Canadian dollar. I was like, hell yeah. So, yeah, it feels good. Like, whenever I see... my fiance, she's into stock markets and stuff like this, and I always see like the Canadian dollar drop more. I'm like, yeah. You know, just...
Yes, I'm living like a king.
Yeah, it's great.
This was a nice move, by the way. Not grabbing a lot in terms of like getting to the drone line, but he does clear up a lot of creep on the front line. Again, pushing Gametime's creep spread back. Grabs, was that 3 overlords? I think just died, 5 in total. Some expensive losses here in the early game. I mean, 1-1 finish for the Terran. He's set up for a split push too. Attacks to the top, attacks to the south with tanks. Gametime is going to struggle to respond to this. He's already down an army supply. Not to mention, there's not that many Banelings. If he had more Banelings, I'd be a lot more confident, but this is looking rough.
And the supply block actually, you know, made him only make overlords in the main, so this little drop is going to be really problematic. Pulling a lot of units. Oh, we see a little bit of like all army happening here, and this 4th base, I think, is going to be forfeit.
The beautiful thing is Gametime has so many drones, so he's got a few to lose. Bring us back to those Alpha Star jokes and memes, but this is something where Vindicta still hasn't really touched the mineral lines. There's a lot of cosmetic army for army damage, but nothing that's going to last.
Right, but that's like why it's like almost better to just take out the hatchery rather than drones here, because then, you know, you can have 88 drones, but it doesn't matter if you lose a base. More Marines in the main base as well, taking out Queens.
Now, luckily, most of the tech isn't actually situated up here in the main. It's mostly in the macro. But Gametime's... I don't know that I call that like a abrupt tap out. I can understand with how left and right he's being pulled here, but feels bad to lose a game with 88 drones.
Yeah, like that was definitely too early. I understand that he was like, I don't even know, was he really behind? Because, you know, I guess
I feel like with the drone count, I understand. Same thing, like I don't agree with the tap out, but I understand because every time you make a new wave of legs, you're going to get picked off right away. You're never going to get above 40 or 50 army supply no matter how much money you have, because you just won't have the time for it.
Yeah, like, you know, there's always this big debate. Should you just leave games that are like putting you on tilt? You know, depends on each player. There's not the same answer for everybody, but I like would strongly disagree with that tap out.
Well, regardless, it puts Vindicta up 1-0 in the specified finals. Interesting question coming out of chat. BaseTradeTV, did you ever cast those Alpha Star replays? Oh boy, with TLO here, this is the wrong person to say this in front of. But no, because I'm not on the Alpha Star hype train, right? there's a little bit about the show for Alpha Star and the whole DeepMind experiment that felt a little gimmicky to me. And that's beside the point. The actual games themselves, I was a little bit interested in the carrier game you had described when you were talking on stream, but none of the other games stood out to me as like, this is amazing. I can't wait for the new evolution of AI. I'm just like, okay, this is a PvP isolated, maybe in a year this is gonna look way better and entice me, but I'm not interested right now. So I realized that was a mistake having this point of view because I've seen the fucking views on everybody who cast those things. Like all those replays from Loco, Winter, and everybody up on YouTube. Thousands and thousands of views. I should have done it, but I gotta stay true to my heart. I didn't find it that interesting, so I don't want to watch it. Like, plain and simple.
Let's just say, hold on to your hats.
I bet, you know, see, the thing is, I bet you it's going to be so cool. I was just so not enthused by what we already got, I guess.
Yeah, like what they explained is like, from their perspective, this was more for researchers than actually for the StarCraft community at this point. Because, you know, just being able to beat a player that is like close to pro level already is like such a step up from anything that has ever happened, that they wanted to present that, you know, to the world, and like before anybody else does it before them, basically. But yeah, like there's more to come, and I think it's gonna be really cool.
Well, we can talk more on that later. Let's hop into Port Alexander for game number 2. We are back. It's game number 2 in this best of 5. And before we do the intros, actually, I'll do the intros really quick. Bottom right, we got the Yellow Zerg player Gametime down 0-1. But that quick loss may have kept him from getting too tilted as he comes to game 2 with a fresh mind very quickly. And his opponent to the top left, the Blue Terran, Vindicta. But just to go on a little bit more about the DeepMind stuff, not necessarily about DeepMind itself, but this is just my point of view on StarCraft, right? I've said it before in many casts, but this is kind of related now. I'm really interested in watching fun StarCraft. I'm not interested in watching the best player in the world stomp the worst player in the world, right? Like, I don't care if it's Zest versus random NA Pro. No matter how much of a fan I am of Zest, I'm never going to enjoy that match, right? And for me, that's where a lot of the Alpha Star stuff is right now. And I'm pretty sure it will be amazing in the near future. Sure. But that's also my mentality when it comes to organizing these events like you're watching tonight or having TLO on for the cast. I want to do stuff that's fun. Stuff that I'm going to enjoy and I know other people enjoy with me. So yeah, choosing not to cast the Alpha Star stuff and some of the other decisions made here and there, realistically, it all just comes down to like, I want to have a good time with StarCraft. And if you guys have a good time with me, even better. But that's my mentality when it comes to doing stuff. Like again, hosting tonight and this whole $500 tournament, no sponsors involved, just a great StarCraft tournament with some great players because it's a lot of fun. Also, fuck off. $5 donation coming from Alpha Star. Sure. Watch what you say, human. Fuck off.
Yeah. You don't want to tempt it, saying like, oh, I'd like to see something more interesting out of it. I'll show you interesting, Graham.
Well, you've been gifted a sub. I'll no longer get upset at you for using my real name like that.
Oh yeah, because I wasn't allowed before.
Yeah, dude. Actually, I don't know what it is. I actually had a discussion with another streamer friend of mine on her stream the other night. She's the opposite. I am of the belief that your names are kind of your first name, your real name, your real info is kind of a little bit informal. Like friends and stuff that you trust have that information, so they can call you by that. In a weird way, I don't want some stranger calling me by my first name online unless I know them.
I understand that.
Well,
no, I agree. Like I think the gamer name is less intimate than the real name. It's almost like your family name.
Well, yeah, right. I look at it like you would say Mr. Rogers. You wouldn't call me Graham if we were super strangers, right? You wouldn't jump to it. So then I was talking to her, and she's like, "No, I think it's super fucking weird to call people by their gamer tags." Because, like, I guess in real life, you never use gamer tag, you always use your real names and blah, blah, blah. So it's really interesting to get that perspective on things. I've always sarcastically said this, though, because I hate when trolls come to the channel. And they're like, Graham, you and Jessica should get along better. I'm like, fuck off, mate. Who are you? Like, go away.
And she doesn't even like to be called that, right?
Right.
So, yeah, the funniest thing that happens to me sometimes, it doesn't happen much anymore. It was when there was more casual StarCraft 2 fans. Thankfully all those are gone now. No, it was, people, once in a while it happened to me that somebody told me they're my biggest fan, and then they called me Darius. Rather than Dario, it was Darius. And I was like, you're telling me you're my biggest fan. Oh,
dude, I loved you in League of Legends. You were top lane. So good.
Yeah, like they don't even know my real name. So that always felt a little bit weird.
Look, so here's the thing, right? There's a Blizzard employee. I actually have no clue if they still work there or not because I don't know all the layoffs or whatever. Beside the point, when I first did a stream with them, they kept calling me Riptide instead of Rifkin. Multiple times. Until I thought, like, does he actually not know? Like, does he not know?
Is this an elaborate troll or is this, yeah?
No, he legitimately thought my name was Riptide because somebody told it to him. He didn't know who I was. And I'm like, cool. Here I am at day 9 in Zombie Grub. They're having their name spelled correctly and said correctly. I'm just being called Riptide over and over again.
Yeah, that feels bad, man. But, I'm sure it was like completely honest mistake.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I've enjoyed working with the guy since then on projects with Blizzard here and there. It's like, no ill will. But at first it really was like, fuck you.
Yeah. Then there's obviously people that come into chat and call me Liquid. That's like that is my ID. Hey, Liquid.
Dude. That's like, you see all these stories of drama in the news with like Jake Paul and FaZe Banks, and then all the news outlets think FaZe is his first name, not a clan tag, and then Banks is his last name, and it's like, this is so awkward. They're reporting on this so wrong.
Yeah, it's that issue when you know something, like as a specialist, you notice things that are wrong in the news, and that always makes you wonder, like, what else is wrong about other topics that, like, other people know more about than the general public. But anyway, we should probably talk a little bit about this game.
Yeah, well, Liquid, what do you think about this layer timing?
I don't know, Riptide. It looks pretty appropriate.
That backfired on me immediately. The Hellbat push here is a little bit different than normal. He's brought a Viking with this too, but this Marauders, and I guess we really should have talked about this a bit more, because the Marauders can soak up the Banelings if this was done correctly. Some of the Hellbats are brought back, so without those Banelings to wash off the Hellbats, they're not so easy to clean up. But he does hack some more right on the front lines. I mean, Concussive Shells is done, so it's going to slow anything down that it grabs, but unfortunately Marauders and a Viking are not great DPS.
No, like, Queens are so tanky against those units. I feel like this push happened so late. And usually it's like an all-in of, well, not an all-in, but like an earlier attack with a delayed third base. So, this was way too easy to defend. Much more easy than it should be.
If you guys could go ahead and not use the warty trigger emote when TLO's casting, that would be great. Thank you. Because I have no way to inform him he's being interrupted by warty screaming about being a rat-a-tat.
Wait, what? I don't understand.
We have this soundbite from Warty where he's crying, "It's not just a phase, I was born a rat-a-tat."
Okay.
And that just came up through your sentence, so sorry to interrupt you with that one, TLO, but thank you for the 300 bits. Hello, Zergling. SC2 Taisho came in for 5 months, and a casual StarCraft fan said fuck off for 5 months. You are getting the full BaseTradeTV experience right now.
Yeah, like I'm into it.
We've had copy passes, we've had memes. Everyone in chat keeps calling me Riptide. I immediately regretted telling that story. Holy fuck.
Yeah, that's gonna follow you around for a while.
Well, we got a Hive on the way here at a game time. I will say this game does feel it's going a lot more smoothly for him. He's flowing like liquid because the creep spread hasn't been beaten back. The attack didn't hurt him so much, and the fact that he's getting a Hive comfortably, this is looking a lot more like when Cham played than necessarily when Gametime played.
Yeah, for sure. This double drop in the main, though, is a little bit dangerous. Everything is pulled up to the north. There's a lot of Marines links out of the map. They're getting cleaned up, and this is gonna take out 2 queens. Seeing the Hive timing is really important too. Like, at least you'll know what's coming up. Like, the question is, will it be an Ultra-less Cavern or is it gonna be Broodlords? So you can find out like in a minute with a scan and then adjust accordingly.
Well, I think that's gotta be like the worst part about the Ultralisk getting that speed buff fixed, because before it was always Broodlords. There's almost never any question, right? Like, who's used Ultras in the last 2 months? Nobody.
I lost a lot of games.
Yeah, exactly. So nobody should be using them.
Yeah.
So you can always predict Broodlords, and I think that's kind of an unseen good thing for Terran in a weird way, but now you have to guess, and you can prepare super incorrectly. Like right now, we have Corruptors coming out, but it's actually an Ultralisk Cavern that's coming down.
Yeah, I don't like that he's putting the cavern next to the Spire, and I feel like if you have a Spire that Terra knows about, you should always make it into a Kratos Spire anyway, just so they, even if you go Ultras, and then maybe you don't use it, because the Spire is actually not that expensive.
Oh. There's a Tunneling Clause now on the research. He's even looking for Widow Mines for the last part of this game. I don't know that I like this.
I think that's like this weird like clutch response to like...
Well, the Widow Mines are a great response to the Lings and the Banelings, but whether it's Broodlords or Ultralisks, it doesn't matter. The Widow Mines are not going to be that effective against those.
They can be in like this weird... way where it feels like, oh shit, I don't have time to get like Ghost Viking. But I have 2 factories. I'll make like 9 Widow Mines and hope to like take one good fight and maybe come back. But the fact that he saw it so early, I agree. Like I think it would be better to go for Ghosts, go for Vikings. Yeah, you'll see how this plays out. Interesting strategy, Cotton.
Well, so Vindicta is actually a player who's very well versed in Ghosts, not just through nukes, as I like to give some hype for, but also through snipes. So if he is worried about this late game or what it is, oh fuck, I made a mistake, TLO. If he does, no matter what it is, Ghost will be a good answer, whether it's Broodlords, whether it's Ultralisk. So it's a tech path worth going down for sure, but he's so far off from doing that.
Yeah, you know, do you feel like he just keeps swimming in one direction and keeps getting trapped in this, I don't know what the name for it, it's like this current. And he should diverge to another strategy, left or right. But what's the name of that again, Graham? How do you call that in the ocean? You got to be really careful of that.
You know what? For a moment there, I was like, oh, maybe I can help him out. What word is he thinking of? And then I thought of the word. And TLO, thanks for joining me. It's a shame it's your last cast ever on the channel, but I've had a lot of fun. I seem to be losing your connection. Are you lagging?
Oh my god. I'm definitely gonna be back, Graham. We're having a good time.
Part of me was actually like, oh, I wonder if he's reaching for one of those weird German words that they have that the English don't have, right? Because you guys have words for everything. But fuck you, TLO. Fuck you.
Got him.
Really well played. I will admit that much. We do have Anabolic Synthesis coming out. He's still investing in the air attacks, which I find a little interesting. Maybe just to help snipe down some of the medevacs, but Gametime's rocking those really sweet Ultra skins. I do love the mechanical looking Ultralisks, and they're about to be moving pretty quick.
I actually really like this mix of like mech skin and, mech skins. I think that looks better as a mix rather than... I was always thinking I should get my Ultras as mech and my Lurkers, but nothing else. I think that looks really nice.
Yeah. One really dynamic thing to highlight is we just now see that speed kick in is the way things run here with the Banelings. Ultras do head to the front line, but now they get stuck on the ramp, and the Banelings are the ones soaking a lot of the damage, so they don't get to connect the way he wanted to. Mostly just Ultras and Lings left over. Maybe Vindicta could kite this. But still, base in the bottom left lost. 15 SCVs have died. Defense is just broken. This doesn't look great for Vindicta, no matter how you spin this.
Yeah, and game time, it always feels bad when you lose your entire supply and so that's 200 supply. So, this looks like it's gonna shape up to be an interesting series.
Yeah, if this goes back and forth, I'll be very happy. Those are the best games in StarCraft. But oh, thank God that Ultra died. So many SCVs were stacked up there. This is game over, though, I would say. I'd love to be the guy who fights back in this, but as you said, that supply count is just a little too harrowing to look at. Numbers don't lie.
No, there's only so much my career can do. And, every Terran always believes, oh, I can come back from that. And I'm Marine King Prime. And
I'm Marine King Prime. I didn't build any bunkers this game. I can do this.
Do you ever see this game between, maybe that was actually before your time, it was, what was his name, Taffel against MVP?
I remember Taffel, but I don't know this match with Taffel.
Yeah, so there was a game on Neoplanet S, and Taffel had 200 supply roaches, and he lost against the 60 supply MVP. He came back from that.
What? That just tanks, or what the fuck?
No, just Marauders and Micro, and Taffel being, very stubborn, trying to go up a ramp.
Yeah, one thing I remember just thinking about Temple, very hot-headed, very stubborn in a lot of situations. But
loved his roaches.
But guys, that is the series now tied up 1-1. So we have a very actual series on our hand, which is great. Got another $5 coming in from Bren. He says 4 people on a roof: TLO, Rifkin, Terminator, and Jibby. TLO walks over the ledge and says, "For my wife," and jumps off. Rifkin says, "For BaseTradeTV," and jumps. Then Terminator walks over and says, "For Twitch chat," and pushes Jibby off the ledge. I was on the edge of my seat that whole story. Thank you for the $5, Bren. All right, guys, we're getting into the next one. Yes, you may at any point strike down his selection, but only once. Gametime's gonna use his veto here on Kairos. Interesting. Kairos is like the most vanilla map everybody picks. For him to use his veto here is very interesting.
Well, I don't fully disagree. Like in CVT, sometimes it feels like the map is very small, so Terran pushes can be very quick. So it's it's not a bad veto at all, I'd say.
Well, again, just to inform people how this works, we have a post-veto system. So classically what you do in StarCraft 2 is you veto before you pick your maps, and then they all pick their maps. In this situation, it's a loser's pick, so they would ideally get the advantage by picking any map they want. But each player comes holstered with one fuck you veto, pocket veto, whatever you want to call it, and they can strike down that map, but only one time. So Vindicta has been forced to repick King's Cove for game number 3. I don't think it's too bad of a repick, though. I like King's Cove. King's Cove
feels like a pretty solid standard map that is a little bit interesting. It actually reminds me a bit of Abyssal Reef.
Really? I was going to say it reminds me a lot of Ohana. At least the base layout for your first 3.
Really? Ohana?
Because if you had a ramp going from that 3rd base with covered by rocks down to your 4th, then it would be exactly Ohana, in my opinion.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, regardless of what it looks like, we know what it is. And King's Cove has some of the most bases available of all the maps currently in the map pool.
And also it has a beautiful tile set. So
yeah, the nice super chill beach. I like it. Actually, do you know there's that stupid crab rave meme? Do you know about that song?
No.
Oh, wow, deal.
I don't know many. I need to be here more often because I don't know memes very well.
This will be your daily dose of memes. Other people come here to practice casting. You're like, no, I need to practice memes.
Yeah, I need to. I don't know how to talk to the kids anymore. I need to learn the memes. God, you make me feel so much older. Thank you for the 300 bits, Luck Q, and for Zombie Grub, a little cameo here on the cast. BaseTradeTV, can you ask TLO when he's going to rematch Alpha Star? I can, but I won't, so get fucked. Donate some bits and maybe I will. Ladies and gentlemen, it's game number 3. Things are tied up 1-1. Spawning here to the top left, we have the Blue Terran from Dust Gaming. It's Vindicta. And once more in the bottom right, we have the Yellow Zerg from Sloth Esports Club. Gametime. And just, I can't really talk about anything. Whatever is known.
Yeah,
in
not
public
for free, at least.
It's not in public. But I can tell you they're not done with the project. And Alpha Star, DeepMind is going to keep working on Alpha Star. So
here's the difference between me and TLO. I'm the type of streamer that doesn't tell you they got a significant other, so in hopes you keep donating. TLO is the other one that says, hey guys, here's Twitter, we just got engaged.
Well,
Gotta make that money, TLO, come on. Don't tell them that you can't tell them anything, because that takes the option off the table.
I just couldn't handle anymore, like the daily, suitors every day. Like it was just a torrent of people. I needed to shut that down.
All those women, yeah.
All those women and men. And,
oh, wow. A real player, jeez. You've really been enjoying Canada.
So it's a very friendly country.
All right, well, non-extra marital relationships aside, because you don't, as you just stated, saying no. Vindicta in Gametime, being tied up 1-1 kind of goes back to a little bit what I said at the start of the series. They're a lot more evenly matched for each other than we've seen the other games be so far tonight. Because let's be honest, there's been a lot of one-sided matches. I'm loving the fact, if this goes to Game 5, I'm going to have a great time. But secondly, it didn't look like that was a super outskilled, outplayed. But that was definitely out macroed. Like, Vindicta just got outsupplied so hard by Gametime.
Yeah, I feel if it really came down to the opening, it felt really not very strong. And then
right, the
Gametime
Marauders left me with so many question marks.
Yeah. So Riptide. It's not gonna leave.
Nope. Shut it down.
Where's the banhammer?
There we go.
I wonder for how many weeks you're gonna have to endure that. Anyway, Vindicta trying to block the third base with an SCV. Let's see if hopefully he doesn't lose. Oh no, he has a hold position. That seems like not the way to do it.
Now see, there's like a Trump-esque mentality to the stream, right? When something bad happens, I just have to do something much worse to make them forget about the other thing.
Oh yeah, like you just count on the attention span of everybody just being 15 seconds. And you're just gonna have scandal after scandal.
Yeah, so for example, people have been asking me for months, why have I stopped casting the Alima Link? Well, if I want Riptide to stop being memed, I could just drop that bomb. Easy.
Go back to that question. All right. Looks like Vindicta's doing a pretty standard opening. He's gonna get Hellions, he's getting a Tech Lab next to Starboard. That's probably gonna be Cloak Banshee. Sometimes it could be a Raven, but wouldn't hold my horses on that. And
you know what? Ravens don't have as big of a role in this matchup, but I have been seeing a couple players do auto turret harass again, which I just feel like we haven't seen in forever. And the odd time it works really well. Yeah,
like they did nerf it, right? But it used to be 2 shots for drone, and now it's 3. Isn't that what happened? And then I think Ravens used to have more range to trap it, which is the bigger deal, because you could kind of just trap them without queens even really being able to touch you much.
Yeah, it's not so much about the speed at which you kill the drones as it is you have to like basically sacrifice your Raven to put it in there. Which is tough because I play a lot of co-op, and Nova's Ravens have like warp prism range. It's ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
And they come stored with the upgrade. They get like fucking 6 auto turrets or railgun turrets. Like, I'll play co-op. They'll go play a real game of StarCraft. I'm like, how do these units work? Why is it only one range? This is bullshit.
Why is this basically a scourge?
Yeah, why is this no fun anymore? Although, quick shout out to all the heroes out there who've been trying to tackle this week's new mutation, because if you have a teammate who just breathes out of their mouth, you can't beat this mutation. It took me so many tries to random queue with people to get this mutation. To even get past the first step of the mutation this week was tough. So anyone out there trying to tackle it, you have my condolences on your many losses.
Alright, Gametime trying to defend these Hellions here. I think there's no armory this time, right?
Oh, he knows about the creep tumor. I was wondering why he kept attacking the rocks. He's trying to splash damage down that creep tumor without scanning.
Yeah, it didn't quite work.
Yeah, okay. He's only getting one Hellion
there's only one Hellion, yeah.
Actually, he'd be better off shooting the queens now, because he'd have the full blast hitting all of it, but...
Yeah, and like even if you got that one, it wouldn't actually clear anything, because there's 2 tumors on top and below it, but...
It's a cute move that shows attention to detail, though, so I still respect it. There we go, cleans these up now. Of course, with 5 queens, replacing the creep's not too difficult.
Lair is done for Gametime now. No tech inside yet, though.
Ooh, rip.
He was a little late getting his gases, despite getting such a fast lair. So I don't know where this is gonna lead into.
Congratulations, guys! You did it. We're in emote only mode. This doesn't happen unless we get really upset with chat. So congratulations, chat. Give yourselves a pat on the back.
Feels bad, man.
This is like when emote only mode is the equivalent of like when a parent uses your first, middle, and last name. Like, they are that cross with you. We are in emote only mode territory, people.
See, I was always... Oh, you can have emote only. I didn't realize that.
What's really annoying about it, though, is cheers go through it. So as you can see, Melonfit, being a dick, cheers 1 bit to write an actual message through emote only chat.
Alright, how's this game looking like now? Like, upgrades are ahead for Vindicta. That's pretty big. And I feel like Gametime is missing a little bit of direction in this game. Like, he got the super fast lair, but then just now he's getting a Spire, now he's getting Baneless and getting an Infestation Pit. So I really like Vindicta's position in this game.
Yeah, he's actually... I'm really curious about the attack timing for this. It's something where if he is waiting for 1-1, he's giving Gametime like a lot of time. Right now, Gametime doesn't have much army supply, but if he pushes as he is, he might just catch this extra base at a perfect timing, and it should be at least a cancel, if not a kill.
Yeah, the main issue for Gametime, though, is like his Baneling speed isn't even started, right? That can make relatively small Terran push is really scary.
What do I do, dude? This guy is not just cheering a bit through. He's also a sub, so I can't put sub-only mode on. Like,
yeah, he found the loophole, man.
Fuck. Alright, plenty of Banelings are on the way, still not out just yet. I love the position on the tanks, kept a little bit further back. He's got a spot to fall back to, but these Banelings don't have speed. This is not going to be easy, even with the creep, to get on top of those Marines before the tanks shell them down. Now, one thing we saw earlier with Vindicta losing to Cham, he was target firing Banelings in a lot of situations. Not doing it so much here. Oh, there we go with the tanks. Takes out the last couple Banelings. Now the Hellbats and Marines can push through. Yeah, the last tank goes down, but with all those Banelings disappeared, Gametime's defense is seriously lacking.
Yeah, suddenly those 4 Hellbats are incredibly scary, and, you know, I think he can even take... If he would focus and get in position, he could have taken out the base, I think, but... Gametime should be able to save this now with those 4 Banelings coming out and 1 Transfuse on the Queen. It's going to be real close, but... worked out in the end.
Not getting the hatchery and those drones playing Ring Around the Rosie, this ended up being not a great attack for Vindicta, but still good because he did trade out really well. Yeah,
like it's kind of a weird position. He killed like way more units of Gametime, but Gametime still managed to get away with 80 drones now. So doesn't necessarily feel great.
Give me 16 more. We're casting Snoot in Heart of the Swarm.
I played Namshar was playing Protoss against me off racing, and I was trolling him a little bit, and I ended up with 120 drones, and I kept killing him with like pure Banelings. I just like kept running in like wave of like 80 Banelings after 80 Banelings after 80 Banelings. It was great.
So that's a dick move, but also dick move. Nice double deny in the upgrades here, focusing both Evo chambers down. That does strip away Gametime's 2/2 entirely. So,
yeah, that's huge, because if you're going ultras,
yes, exactly,
really suck if you don't have upgrades.
I mean, chitinous plating with +1 armor is nothing. Marines can still chew through that. That's the big thing. Because once your ultras are fully maxed out, Marines become irrelevant. They're hitting you for 1 to 2 damage a shot at most, and you have to rely on tanks and Marauders. But when you can still fight with the Marines, those ultras are not nearly as scary as they were in that last game. This base is still low from earlier too, so he might just finally be able to finish this off. And to be honest, losing this base is still going to be hard for Gametime. This is a pretty healthy mining base he's just set up.
Yeah, like it's not so bad because at least he has that other 4th base he could retreat to and still have mining of the drones, but he, you know, still sucks losing a base, of course.
I feel like if Vindicta takes control of the bottom of this ramp after killing this base, he's going to easily kill this base too, though. So there's the first bit, just quick snipe there, no problem. A lot of creep to worry about. No ultras really in play yet. The Lynx are going for a counterattack instead of defending, but there's a wall. Oh, it's not a wall. I take that back.
No. Yeah, that's really unfortunate, but I think there's enough units against pure Ling.
Oh, he races the depots. Look, it feels bad, man.
Yeah, this should be fine, though. Like, I think this is actually good for Vindicta.
Yeah, dropping the mid. Oh, if he's going to deny chitinous plating, this could be huge. And he is. He's going to focus on the Ultras Cavern. Oh, that's so gross. He denied the +2 armor. He denied the chitinous plating. Now you've got these... There's such expensive units to invest into an Ultralisk that's made of paper mache.
Yeah, look at this Ultra being fought in at the... yeah, it died so quickly you couldn't even switch to it.
Yeah, Ultras almost have... It's almost like a hatchery, really.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, killing a depot.
Playing cat and mouse, he weaves through the mineral lines, survives a little bit longer, but... This has been great. Vindicta is getting a lot of good attacks in now. Like, earlier was questionable. You know, you didn't quite finish the hatchery, but even losing these tanks down here, they're taking out quite a few Lynx with them before they go down. Lots of damage on those Ultras. And of course, there's more army. I'm liking Vindicta's position so much this game.
2-2 is close to finally finishing up for Gametime, so that's going to even out things a little bit. 3-3, however, is already on the way. And this next army has a good mix of Marauders, so, you know... I'm not looking too positively for...
Hey, you want to see a cool trick, Tilo?
Sure.
Okay, hey, chat. Type nothing if you love Terran. Type 1 if you love Zerg and are rooting for Gametime.
But this is emote only, isn't it?
This is why there's a Terran bias, dude. People like me, we're forcing it on others. How do you have a 1 emote? No! Oh, yes. Fucking the Fortnite global emote. No, this doesn't work. Fuck!
Get wrecked.
Okay, well, you know what? We're just gonna leave it in emote only mode a little bit longer then. Fuck you guys. You think you're so clever? You're not. I was just about to take it out of emote only mode 2. Feeling up.
I wonder, are there like enough global emotes like for every single letter of the alphabet that you could theoretically
No,
still
actually,
write?
because Twitch started removing anyone who had a letter as an emote.
Oh, okay.
Because people were using it to get around language filters and stuff.
Oh, okay. That
We
makes
actually
sense.
lost our Partouf coin for a while. I had to fight like a close to legal battle to get it back.
Oh, because it's a P, and you know
Well,
you can do. You can have a lot of fun with a P, can't you?
Well, some people can. We'll talk more about that story later, guys. Ultras and Bailings are flanking, but the Marauders still survive, fall back. 2 tanks up on the high ground, but this isn't it. There's also an attack on the right side that just killed a hatchery. And Gametime may have pushed back this army off of creep, but it didn't win this battle, and he lost the hatchery while this went on.
Yeah, this is such an awkward
still
position.
not
Like,
done.
you cannot jump on top of these tanks.
Not like you're not jumping on top of the tanks, you just literally can't take the hits. Chitinous plating is finally now finishing, which means he can start anabolic synthesis, which will make these ultras a little bit faster off of creep, but he needed all of this, as well as his +2, like 5 minutes ago. So Vindicta's, you don't oftentimes get to deny tech, unless you're Zerg and you can cast like a cool Contaminate or something, but like for the most part, you don't get to deny tech like this, and I haven't seen someone behind forcibly like this in a long time. He's finally playing catch up, but it's closer to the end of his life than not.
That's why you don't put tech buildings at like the edges of your bases. Like it's nice to tuck them in between your main and your natural.
You could be like Ryung and build them in part of your wall and feel bad. Okay, so with Chitinous plating, you guys can see the difference, like day and night in taking this fight. But I do want to highlight something Vindicta is doing behind this. It's not one Ghost Academy, it's several, because he's looking for nukes. And nukes sometimes seem a little bit silly and can sometimes seem a bit frivolous, but Vindicta is surprisingly good at using nukes. I've seen him land some good hits that I never thought he'd land, and against Gametime, who is going to have to really start pushing out to take these mining bases, it's going to leave him exposed. There's a good chance we see a cool nuke this game.
Absolutely, and you know, Vindicta has the economy to back this up. He's just finishing his 5th planetary fort, well, his 2nd planetary, but his 5th base is in full, you know, mining mode, and this, you know, he has all the tools to deal with hive tech Circus well now, and there's no 3rd armor upgrade actually for Circ currently either. He only has the +3 attack, which probably you should not get. You know, if you can only afford 1 upgrade, you want to get the armor. So, yeah, everything is looking pretty hot for Vindicta.
Oh, these guys have got the gun holstered. That's how you know they're nuking ghosts. But quick peek at the income graph. Actually, surprisingly, while this went on, Vindicta didn't take like a huge crazy lead despite these base denies. He did get up in the income, but then Gametime caught up. Tactical nuke landing on this base. Oh,
Let's see if you can see it. He could. Oh, there's 2 nukes even.
This is actually be super hard to see. I don't think he's gonna see it, Teal. Oh, he pulls out last second. All right, what about this base? This is the problem when you got 2 nukes going off. You're looking for 1 red dot, not 2. This was a big hit, 16 drones, and big damage on that hive.
At the same time,
damage.
1 more base being taken out to the left. So,
see, this is where I think nukes are great, and this is why I like how Vindicta uses them. It's not like, oh my god,
right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not one big crazy hit, which in this case it was. Oh no, he just tried to manually detonate the Bailings and it didn't kill the ghost. Okay, that cleans it up, but sorry, really getting caught up with the hype and excitement here, because yeah, as Tilo just said, it's the distraction. You're looking all up, you're frantically clicking, looking for that dot, then you find it, you think you're good, not realizing there's a second one, not realizing there's an attack on this base. Yikes. And there's about to be 5 more nukes, by the way. He just built 5 more nukes.
That's great. Yeah, like, you know, I've actually consciously decided not to even care about a nuke before, because I knew of big fighters coming up, and I figured I can just lose like a drone line rather than like losing that fight. So, nukes are pretty great about like splitting attention.
Well, speaking of splitting attention, he's about to help him with that drone count once again, TLO. Big hit from this nuke. Of course, he did lose a planetary fortress, but it's worth noting, yeah, Gametime spent so much to kill that planetary. I can totally feel the tap outs there. GG's. Vindicta now takes a 2-1 lead, putting Gametime on his last life.
You know, and doing it in a fashion that gives him a good amount of style points. I have to give him credit as, you know, a former nuke addict myself. I'm liking this.
Did anyone clip that first nuke, by the way? I would love if we got a clip of that so I can take a look at it. But we're going to go to a quick break, guys, while we get game at number 4 set up. So sit tight, as this might be the last one. Hopefully not, but might be the last one of the night. See you in a couple minutes. All right, folks, we are back, but I'm only here for a moment to send us into the next map. It's going to be Automaton for game number 4. If you're just joining us, it's 2-1 in the favor of Vindicta over Gametime, and this is the group finals. So we already have Cham advance through to the playoffs on Sunday. We'll see which of these two make it through, possibly based on this game. Once again, we jump into the fray. It's Rifkin and TLO coming at you with this final series. In the top right, he's got a 2-point score. We got the blue Terran player from Dust Gaming, Vindicta. Is Vindicta Mexican, or I just realized, I think that's the Mexico Nation Wars ball.
I think he is.
Cool. Well, in the bottom left, it is his opponent, the All-American Dream Boy. It's Gametime, who I guess has stopped streaming his matches for now, but he does stream pretty regularly. So again, I'm always happy to promote other streamers, especially if it's StarCraft related. You guys should definitely check him out sometime if you've enjoyed his games at all tonight. But this is perfect timing. Says Flogson, GSL is almost ready to go. Yeah, if this series ends here, then it's the absolute perfect timing for y'all. But if you don't know, GSL is starting up here very shortly, which is just added to the many complications of how difficult it's been running events in February, as WCS eats up 4 out of 7 days of the week, and they also eat up like 7 or 8 hours of the day, coupled up with GSL being in the evenings. Feels bad, man, but we wiggled our way in here. We got some good games. We got a cast out tonight. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, I must imagine it's a blessing and a curse for like you guys. You know, it's great to see StarCraft get so many viewers, and I'm quite happy actually about that. You know, WCS Winter in that regard, because you know we would never get as many viewer hours from just a single offline event. So I think it's really cool that we have this preseason, but I can sympathize with you content creators that that's not the easiest time to like squeeze in your own content.
Well, here's a little fun fact for behind the scenes. Blizzard has had this kind of shared calendar with a lot of the content creators, right? Many of us have access to it, and while we can't necessarily edit it a lot, we can still see when they're doing stuff, right? And then we submit our own events so that other content creators can see when it is, and ideally you avoid conflict, right? Well, sometime in December, one of the Blizzard employees accidentally deleted this calendar, TLO.
Oh no.
And the great thing is he was tasked with reinstating it, but was also sadly one of the folks who fell prey to the layoffs. So yeah, it is a particular nightmare trying to schedule stuff at this moment in time. And I know that I have the least worries out of most people. There's so much other people out there who have bigger problems, but yeah, it's been a thing. It's been a headache.
Yeah, that feels really awful. Sorry to hear that. Hopefully that'll be something that makes a return. Sorry also to hear about the person that was laid off. You know.
Well, I think it gets better too, because as the bigger events actually get announced, you can kind of at least guess when they're going to run stuff. So once you know, WCS's Winter's already run most of its course. Beforehand, the problem wasn't necessarily what day can you broadcast, it's what players can even play, right? 32 players suddenly no longer doing things because they're doing WCS versus around a 16. Now you got 16 players more available and so forth and so forth. So things have been getting better, and it'll continue to get better too. But yeah, February's been a hell of a month. But the beautiful thing is, for the StarCraft fans out there, it's a real win. Like, the WCS broadcasts have been great. To be honest, I've been really critical of Fear Dragon in the past, but I think he's done a much better job with WCS Winter. Zombie Grab Nathanius also in control, like all doing great jobs. It's been a really good WCS Winter so far.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just nice to see StarCraft being so far up the Twitch ladder in so many days. So I think that's great, and it's a great time to be a StarCraft 2 fan right now.
Interesting remark from Hyper Doge, which, by the way, I hope you're doing well, dude. You have to collab with TLO more often. You guys have great synergy. I played a bit of StarCraft 2 in my teens, and TLO was my favorite player for playing random and using innovative strategies. I quit.
Thank you so much.
Well, he says, I quit, and here I am 8 years later listening to the cast and loving it. Well, thank you, dude. I'm glad you're enjoying
good.
it.
Yeah, that's very kind. You know, it's so weird to me now that there are all people that used to be teenagers and now they're adults. Ever since I started playing StarCraft,
Yeah.
so, you know, it turns out I'm starting to become an adult, and but it's also kind of cool that there are people that grew up with StarCraft just as I grew up with StarCraft back in the days.
I think what's really neat about it is StarCraft may have fallen from peak popularity, but it's proven it has longevity to it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of these other games are like freaking out, like the battle of PUBG versus Fortnite, and now everything else versus Apex, and like everyone's viewer bases and Fallout. Like people are freaking out. I'm like, you still have great numbers. You got nothing to freak out about.
Yeah, you know, StarCraft has been solid, and what I always notice about StarCraft is there's like interesting. There's like actually the StarCraft fans are like really smart. I always, whenever I meet people in like interesting companies that do like smart stuff, like, and you know, there's always StarCraft people in those high, you know, value positions that are doing like research, or they're in like a really cool company, and I think that's awesome. You know,
I think one point I want to add into this counters a little bit of the doom and gloom that came out of the recent Pylon show, because like it is a little worrying with recent events, and everyone should definitely to a degree be worried about the future of StarCraft. For me though, we haven't really had a lot of Blizzard support for things until this war chest until recently, and we've gotten by just fine. So I'm kind of like, as long as I still like StarCraft and there's fans who still watch it, no matter what happens, like I'm still happy to still put on these shows, right?
Oh yeah, and you know, there's like so many people that are so passionate about this game. We will do whatever we can do to like keep StarCraft alive as long as we enjoy it, and also, you know, things are looking a little bit difficult with what happened at Blizzard, but you know, we'll just try to have the best possible year with StarCraft ever, and maybe next year it's going to be just as great as this one as well. You know, just gotta be positive.
One really unique thing about StarCraft, though, composed to any other game, like especially compared to like Heroes, right? HGC got canceled and everything died, feels bad, but StarCraft is so bloody cost efficient compared to every other game out there. Like to have a round of 8 is cheaper than flying 2 teams in from these other games. Like, I think the beauty is if Blizzard disappeared, God forbid, right? But if Blizzard were to cancel WCS for whatever reason, you could literally actually have like one wealthy guy pick up the slack with relative ease, whereas you can't do that with these other games. They're too costly.
Yeah, you know, the fact that something like home story cups can happen and stuff like that, you know, with so many players present. And StarCraft, yeah, as you said, it's probably one of the most efficient esports actually when it comes to, you know, viewership versus costs. StarCraft 2 is actually running pretty well.
So a couple things. Sorry, guys, we haven't been talking a lot about the game. We do have a Hive on the way here for Gametime. We'll see if he runs into the same struggles as last time, because his upgrades certainly hurt him a lot. But before we finish off this topic, was it 18, the most recent Home Story Cup? I can never remember which numbers they are.
Yes, 18 was the recent, 19 is coming up. So which is cool, because it means winter is going to be the big 20.
Well, so it had been like 3 or 4 years since I went to my last Home Story Cup, and then I went to this one. And seeing how much it had grown, because for you guys who go to all of them, it doesn't probably seem that much of a big deal, right?
Yeah, it's more gradual, yeah.
But for me, I was like, fucking amazing how big it is compared to what it was. How big the studio and production. Because the last time I was there was still Dennis's stupid fucking apartment where it was 1 billion degrees and too tiny and too hot. So it was amazing seeing how far that thing's come. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to Dennis. He's like he's like one of the most incredible OG people in esport. And yeah, looking at this game, okay, we got 80 drones. And Vindicta is going to try to get a push across the map. So, like, this looks pretty good for Gametime if he can survive and hold on to this and, like, get ultras out. I feel really good about him. But, like, this position is really nasty with tanks.
Oh, especially when there's a hatchery on the wrong side of the gold, boys. That's a freebie right there. But, yeah, as you said, it's if he survives. And that's the problem. When you go for Hive Tech, there's a big gap where you're not trying to make a lot of units, you're trying to get your tech out. And that's where Zerg has a bit of an Achilles heel. Vindicta absolutely trying to capitalize on this right now. I love that he's not getting overcommitted. He's really trying to bait the Zerg back into his own tank fire. Marine's already heading for the hills. Unloaded on the other side of this. Those tanks trade out really efficiently.
Yeah, it was like an efficient cleanup, but at the same time, I feel like Vindicta didn't quite do enough here.
I'm surprised he didn't put more tanks over here, to be honest.
Oh, actually,
like,
now like looking at the supply and yeah, like I think Gametime actually overcommitted here a little bit.
GG.
You know, like the initial fight looked good, and then he went for too long. Well, looks like Vindicta is advancing.
Yeah, this is great. It means we'll have a little bit of diversity. We got a Zerg and a Terran both slated for the playoffs. We'll see whether many Zergs, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, come through tomorrow, or if it's just TLO.
We'll see about that.
Tomorrow's group should be a lot of fun. So TLO's cast is going to be tonight. Tomorrow's probably going to be a bit of a solo cast, guys, unless I can find somebody super fun to join me at the last moment. But tomorrow's group will have, again, 3 best of 3s, 2 best of 5s, and it's going to be comprised of TLO, Caleb Arrakis, there you go, that's the name I was trying to remember again, Puck, and Masa. So there'll be a lot of diversity. There'll be a lot of good games, I think. I also do feel people in that group are a little bit closer in skill necessarily than this group was. So I think we'll see a few less one-sided matchups. But I look forward to seeing your games, especially because you're always fun to cast. My favorite thing is,
Thank you.
I don't know if this is a good thing to hear or not, but my favorite thing about casting people like yourself or Mana, like some select players are, even when they are losing, they're still the most entertaining people to watch. So it's like, win or lose, I know I'm going to have a good time when I see TLO like in the bracket and Mana in the bracket and so forth.
I can appreciate that. I'm a competitor first, but I'm also well aware that there's entertainment is part of what we're doing, and so I guess I'm also partially an entertainer. And it's not why I'm doing these things; it's because I enjoy playing StarCraft that way. But I'm happy that people can appreciate my playstyle and the crazy stuff that sometimes happens in my games.
Well, I wish you the best of luck for tomorrow. As far as today, any final words for fans and such, or do you just want to come and watch you tomorrow? What's the floor is yours, my dude.
Just cheer for me tomorrow in my group, and I'll probably be streaming myself tomorrow as well. I'm probably more around the early hours of Eastern Standard Time. So just watch out for my Twitter at LiquidTLO, and I'll be streaming at twitch.tv LiquidTLO. And if you have any desire for some early day StarCraft or European, and probably the tournament will be a little bit late for some of you, but you can always go and hang out at my chat. And thank you for having me, Graham.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. I really hope that tomorrow we can hit even bigger, better viewership. I guess I didn't realize tonight Vibe was going to be featured on the War Chest, so that didn't help a lot, but it didn't matter because we still had good games. We still had some pretty good viewers. Trailed off towards the end, understandably so, because freaking GSL starting up, but yeah, we had like a good 3,000 for most of this. That's pretty awesome. So again, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. For me, if you could just follow the channel, that would help a lot. If you would possibly check out our Twitters, both mine and Teal's are displayed by our faces here on the cams. That would be awesome. Otherwise, just tune in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully nobody's internet will cause them to forfeit the group. Then we should have some pretty good times. Other than that, just going to send you guys off. I will let Twitch chat pick real quick. I know you want me to host GSL. I'm not going to go do it. You're all going to go watch GSL. That's fine. I'm going to send some viewers to a friend. I'll let you guys pick which friend we send these to. So I've got my friend. Yes, it's 3 girls. Get over it. I got my friend Lal Natsumi. She's playing Apex. I've got Kara Corvus. You guys should know fairly well. Also playing Apex. And then last but not least, god damn it, she's also playing Apex. Fastfee. So Natsumi, Kara, or Fastfee, let me know who you guys want me to host in the chat. I'm just going to end the stream with some commercials. So take care, good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again for watching.